Hello.
Hello,
Hello, good
Danny
hero. We're
Alira.
back.
Yeah, where were we?
We were working.
Yeah, working.
Yeah.
Working for the weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, we were gone a few days.
Yep.
Um, Partly because I've had to try to finish the the painting rewards that we
Yes.
have for the book.
Yep.
I
Yep.
had never done so many rewards for a publication,
Yeah.
so it's a little I guess overwhelming.
It's like never ending,
Yeah, because I
to
tried to
be
do my
honest.
best. Like I really tried to make every painting feel like it was painted for the person that asked for it. Um so you can't be like on autopilot. You have to look at every painting. You have to try to do something with every painting.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't have to be like the best painting you've ever painted, like each one of them like the best thing you've ever painted. But they have to be consistent. That's what you're hoping for. That one person can see the rest of the painting rewards and feel, yeah, mine is part of this group. And there are very many different ones.
Mhm.
Some people asked for more personal choices regarding their artists,
Yeah.
and those are a little bit more difficult because I do feel that there's a sense of familiarity when they ask for something
Yeah.
that I just don't possess. Um, and then with other ones, I felt okay, I could, yeah, like take more chances doing these things, so I can be a little more playful. So I'm trying to hit like a really good balance between what I have to do, which is just try to do my best with all of them, and but reaching also a point that it's manageable to do so many of them. So yeah, people don't usually do so many rewards in like Kickstarter projects, or they do rewards when you can just like give out a print. But originals, it's either like a sketch, like a very loose sketch, or or but when it's something a little more elaborate, there's
Mhm.
there's very few. Like they'll do 15 at most or
Yeah.
20.
Or as you were saying, it's like a maybe a G clay
Yeah,
or like a something that you do once and then you do like the reproductions of that and
yeah,
just ship that reproduction, but not like having to do a specific thing for every single
right.
person.
So that's a little difficult. I'm gonna have to say, I'm not gonna lie. Like most things that have happened in Kickstarter books, that there is a an intent, that it's comes from the heart, and there's goodness behind it, and then you realize, oh my God, what did I just agree to? I'm gonna have to do a lot of these, and the issue, and you know this, Danny, the issue is not doing them. The issue is that a lot of people didn't answer on
Yeah.
time.
There's
So
people that haven't
yeah,
answered to this day.
right, because I
So I
started like 3 months ago, or
yeah.
with a ton of them.
Or and for that specific tier
Yeah.
of the Kickstarter, we send out the the question of what artist they wanted to
Oh,
choose
from the
from
beginning.
the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I think a
and
lot
I've
of
been
people.
oh, I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say that I've been like reminding people a lot,
Yeah,
and I was doing these days I was doing a list of
yeah,
who's missing, so we can like send a message to those people saying like, hey,
yeah,
remember to choose uh an artist.
yeah. Because the
So
thing, the thing that we've talked about, and I think this is like the only way to do this if people don't answer on time, is that I'm gonna have to ship the books. Like, we're gonna travel together. We're gonna pack everything, and I'm gonna have to tell people like, hey, I painted and we're not missing a ton of them. We're only missing about like 10, 12, something like
yep.
that. So, um, but I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna do my best to try to have that on time. But if I can't have it on time, the only way, and this is like, you know, true, the only way I can do this is like going back to my brother's probably in February,
Hmm.
January or February, like late January or February, And
Which is not ideal.
no. But painting them here, then going back and shipping those like in a second batch, like in a last little second batch. And maybe, you know what I was thinking? Maybe if I go there for like, a couple of days
Mm-hmm.
and there are books left and we give them time, we give enough time for people to get them and we realize, okay, like let's say 95% of the people got their books.
Yeah.
We put
Like we've
5% apart.
fulfilled
Yeah,
our.
we say let's put 5% of the ones that we have extra apart, and we can offer, if we have 15 books, let's say, we
Yeah.
can just offer them to the
Yeah.
people that want them.
But I think that that second trip is one that you
Yeah, it's
should do
not.
you.
Yeah, it's not
Because
great.
also, no, yeah, because I was going to
It's
say that
expensive.
exactly. Because
Yeah,
we
people
have
don't
to
realize
travel
it.
back there
Yeah, it's probably.
to ship more. So it's going to
We're
be
very open
too.
about this. That's probably like $1,500.
Yeah.
Like
For
on.
you.
Yeah,
I mean,
just for us. Like
yeah.
that's us. Like saying, hey, let's spend $1,500 that we're not going to make up on like new books, just because we have to go and ship some books, some rewards that people weren't responding on a timely fashion. So, but we have to honor that too. So we're going to try to see if we can just push a little bit the people that haven't answered, but I'm positive that we're not going to get all of them. And yeah, and we're either going to have to issue refunds or ask people, hey, are you okay with this taking like 2 more months to ship? Because now I have to get back, I have to do your painting, but then I have to travel to,
Yeah.
because I can't, again, my brother is over there and I could just FedEx like a batch of paintings, but it's not the responsibility of my brother to like do this.
No.
And I could tell him, yeah, put this one in this book and then go to the, print this on stamps.com and go to the mail, to the post office and do that for me. Like, no, my brother has like a life and is a professional, and I can't expect him to do that.
Hmm.
So yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to cover as much ground as we can when we're there.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you were saying issue a refund, and I also think that that could also be the case for people that only order the book but haven't answered with a shipping address.
Oh yeah, that one's
'Cause
like we don't have a way to.
Exactly,
We have
'cause I've-
no way to know where to send the book.
Yeah, and I've sent like, hey, friendly reminder, hey, if you're receiving this, it's because we don't have your address. We're waiting.
Yeah.
So I think it's complicated because we've tried to reach people, but there's people that maybe they back the project, but they have never
People
checked.
forget, and honestly, Danny,
Yeah, exactly.
people forget. People sometimes back so many projects that they forget.
No, and I also think that there's people that don't back projects. So they don't have like they don't go to Kickstarter just to check things out.
Yeah.
Because maybe they just followed you on Instagram, or they followed our channel and they were like, okay, I want to back this. So let me create a user and back this. And then they forgot about it.
Yeah.
So they haven't even checked the mails that they got.
Yeah.
So,
no, super,
yeah, but-
super important for people to like, if they get an email from Kickstarter, it's not spam. It's not like something that you're going to be like, I'm not going to answer this. No, it's actually like important for us to hear back from you. So
Yeah. So, yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we were doing.
that's our bit of taking care of little business
Yes.
regarding the book. Very happy with the book.
Yes. My
your-
yesterday, I'm
Your
sorry.
mom has one, yeah.
Yeah, I gave one to my mom and dad.
And today I gave one to my mom.
Yeah, and I mean I went to give it to them yesterday,
Yeah,
and we went to my grandma's house.
yeah,
So the mom of my mom,
yeah. On your
and
mother's
they were
side?
checking out what?
On your mother's side.
Yep.
Yeah,
They were checking out the book, and they liked it a lot.
that's good.
I was feeling super proud and super happy. So
Yeah, my mom really liked it, but it's my mom. Like the book could have opened up, and it could have been like old soup in there,
mhm.
and she would have been like, "This
Yeah,
is
like,
the most amazing book I've
not a
ever seen."
single image.
No,
And she would be like,
nothing.
"Oh, this is an
just,
amazing
rotting
sketchbook." Yeah.
And she's like, "This is the greatest book I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah.
It compared to the Bible, this is better, she would say.
Oh,
So
and also, because
what's
I
that?
forgot to tell you,
Yeah, I don't know. Your mother
uh,
wrote like some really nice things.
yeah,
She
she was
sent me
so,
like a
so
message.
nice. Really?
Yeah, she sent me a message today.
She's so nice. Yeah, because yesterday when I got home, like half an hour later, I
Yeah,
got a message from her. A very sweet message. It was from my mom and dad.
yeah,
So, yeah, that I show it to you
yeah. Very
yesterday. So,
nice. Yeah,
but I was going to tell you that
I felt excluded until today. I got the same
uh,
message. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
yesterday
No, I'm not.
I showed my cousin the turtle.
Oh,
He was
very
so
nice.
happy. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Because I was
He's part of our book. Yeah,
exactly because at the end of the book, he did a little drawing of a turtle, and we
yeah.
have it in the back of the book. And I was like, I have to show you something. And I opened the book, and he was like, a turtle? And I was like, yeah. And who did it? I did, but he was like so happy.
Yeah.
So
Oh shit.
I felt very good about it.
No, that's awesome.
So, should we say hi?
Yes, please.
So,
So,
oh
but
no, and also, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, you go ahead. So, and I'll speak a little bit about what we're doing today.
Yeah, no, so I was going to say something super mundane.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that also it's been super cold. And so, first I had the flu,
Yeah,
then you got the flu.
yeah. I'm
You
still
never
kind
get
of.
sick.
No, I never do.
But you were sick too. So we were like, you know what? Because when you have like a runny nose, it's terrible to think about streaming
Yeah, not great to
or
talk.
like talking in a mic and being like super congested.
I had to like push through painting those days.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't it. I have to be honest. It's because I know that there's a responsibility that I have to answer to. Um, but and I know that I have to paint, so it's almost like yeah, you don't have time to be sick, kind of thing. But there were days that I was painting, and I was like, I just can't do this. I just can't do this.
No, I know you. I know that you're like, okay, I'm going to push through the end of this painting and then I can lay down. Because you were like feeling super bad. You never lay down in the day.
No, and there were a
And
couple of days that I was laying
you
down.
had to.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So that's what I was going to say. So maybe you can talk about the painting?
yeah. I hadn't gotten back to it for obvious reasons. Just trying to get to the rewards. But when I was looking at it, I think the expression was quite beautiful. I really liked what's going on with the sentiment of the painting. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. But I have this very capricious thing that I do when I paint, which is I don't know. I'm starting to feel more and more insecure about it, which is very strange, but I have to answer to that too. Which is that they almost feel like they go in opposite directions. And I've been wanting to see if I could talk to specifically to this one guy. He's a terrific artist, Tom Fluharty.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Fluharty is a great painter, great draftsman, like tremendous caricaturist. And the thing that I've been noticing is that in order to push my drawing, I've had to let go of, you know, kind of like the discipline side of my brain that has wants everything to be like right, like it's fighting so that everything is like right in place.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had to I've always understood that if I want to take chances, like um you have to, like if you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. Like you
Yeah.
have to. There's no way to disrupt something, to disrupt like a drawing, like a canon of drawing, um, if you don't sort of break it apart and try to then stitch it back together and reconfigure it. And it's super exciting. And I'm noticing that I'm tending to do that more and more often. Like I just go like gun ho and I just start kind of mushing things around, and things sometimes fall apart, and then while I'm painting I try to like piece them together, and it's very exciting to paint that way. It's actually what keeps me super excited. But I've also noticed that when I try to invoke something that is a little more disciplined with my drawing, it's just not there. It's not. It's almost like, it disappears because once you start pushing in one direction, you can't expect the other one to get exercise, like the proper amount of exercise too. So it's kind of fading a little bit.
Mm.
And it's very frustrating because sometimes I want to say, no, let me be a little more disciplined with this aspect. And when I try, I like struggle like crazy. Like I notice myself struggling really, really bad. And I guess it's okay. But what I've noticed is that I can't just invoke it easily. It's just not the way it works. So I wonder how that push and pull works. I've always thought of Tom as somebody who pushes drawing tremendously. And but he also has like, I mean, maybe the answer is just that he's like, well, I know this to be true, but he's just so much more talented as in terms of drafting skills than I am. But maybe you just have to be really, really good to control, to keep all those things kind of in motion, like in check. You
Mm-hmm.
can push, but you're also, not negligent with this other part that requires like a lot of attention. And um, I've noticed that I'm not that way. I'm just like, I'm going to push and, see you later, drawing. Like, just be here when I want to call you back. And it doesn't, I don't know if it works that way. So I would love to talk to him about that, like that sort of, the way drawing kind of breathes in and out of control, expression. That would be super interesting because I really can't think of somebody else who can be who is that talented and can do things that demonstrate both skill and the willingness to push as well as he does with his work. So yeah. So when I was looking at this painting, I was like, I don't know. I mean, the things that are very human about it are there and I love them. But I think I can access those things when I try to paint you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I get those things, which are not easy, but I think I can get those things. But there are certain things that I'm like, oh, this could have been more compact, or this could have been like a more controlled proportion, or I needed just a little bit of that head turning, but because I was pushing things, like I squished it a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always willing to, I'm always like, yeah, it's okay. Like, that's me. I'm always the person that's like, oh, that's not a bad sacrifice, or that's going to be okay. Like, we'll make that work. And this is one painting that I think it's nice. And, one where I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish it before we leave, but one in which I wouldn't be like, I don't want to rush it. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, that's not like, that's just a resulting painting, but that's not quite the painting that I wanted to paint. I don't want that to happen with this painting.
Mm-hmm.
So today I'm going to struggle a little bit. And among the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, so that we're going to shrink the both head and hands and the arm. Well, you guys can't see the arms down here, but
No.
eventually the arms are obviously going to have to shrink too. But we're going to shrink the head. I'm going to end up doing something that I wanted to do at the beginning, which is, and this is total discipline. Like, sometimes you should do a mark up top and you should say, that's where a little, this little curl of hair that I had just, this is in my underpainting, I had pushed it out
Yeah. So
of the paper.
just for you to know,
Yeah.
where you draw that horizontal line,
Yeah, this one?
that's a little bit up from what we can see.
Oh,
Maybe you
crap.
can see here,
Okay,
because I
shit.
think that's
Okay.
something important
Yeah,
in the
okay.
painting, but
Yeah. So
it's out of.
the painting is, yeah, if you guys can check the video, but it
Do
was
you want me
cropping.
to?
No, it's okay, Dan.
Okay.
It's perfect. But I was cropping the painting too much. I was cropping it out of frame a little too much. Well, let me see. Let me try to do this. Oh, it's actually all zoomed.
No, it's not. I think it has a little.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. Nope. There we go.
Yes, a little less. No, a little more. No. There you go.
There we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So, this little thing is
Oh, but you know what?
what's that?
I'm gonna move my camera
What's that? Why is that?
because then this part of
Oh,
the
remember,
phone's
just
showing.
shift, just put Alt over that image on OBS.
Yeah, but I don't know because.
No, 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 it's super easy. Alt, press Alt, and just
Hmm.
grab the. There we go.
Oh, perfect.
Super easy.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Now
YouTube.
you with
You
your
know,
tricks, yeah.
YouTube. Which the things you learn on YouTube. Um. Anyways, so what I should have done first, and it's something that you get taught. Like I teach this in drawing, is that when you want something to fit, you just put a mark at the top, mark at the bottom, and you make it fit. Like you measure the crap out of it, but you make it fit. You don't just do that and then the head just crop it out, or if you're doing a full figure, you don't put a mark on the bottom and then just say, yeah, the feet. I'm sorry, but the legs got bigger and I couldn't fit the feet. It's like, what? You chose that. Like that was your choice. It's not something that's like sentient and like it suddenly grew without your approval. It's like, no, you did this. So I'm going to try to control my drawing just a little bit better right now, which means that I'm going to have to shrink some things, which is good because that's actually the painting that I wanted to paint originally. So let's see if we can start to fit all of my proportion. I'm not going to go crazy ooglo. I'm not going to go and start measuring every single bit.
Hmm.
If I have to, like, I'm going to, you know, sort of like I can sort of tell that in terms of my proportions, like my height, I'm usually good with height, but I know I sometimes neglect width, which is like obviously
Ooh.
okay. Height will never work. There's somebody screaming in the street. Height will never work if it doesn't relate to width. Your proportions in terms of height can be perfect. You could measure your height perfectly, but if you don't correlate that to width, then it's kind of pointless. Or it's not pointless, but you're gonna have a beautifully elongated figure that disregards like the x axis. Um, so this is very basic, just doing, these little guys, but that's just the way you do things. Like that is when I started drawing, I used to have to do all these little bits of mark making all the time. And my teachers would always tell me, well, compare this, like let's say from your hairline to the tip for the top of your head, like it's that shape. Where does that shape coincide,
Yeah,
relate,
where
correlate
it
to?
hits, yeah.
Yeah, and in your head, it's roughly the same. I would say, this distance and up here, that's like a little hebilla. What do you call that? Like a little
Clip, hair clip.
hair clip. Thank
Yeah,
you.
but that's like a hair claw, I think
Okay,
it's
I
called.
have no idea. Like a
Because
little
it's not an hebilla,
alligator.
but a caiman. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know if it's hair claw. Now I'm.
I have no idea. Whatever
It makes
you could have
sense,
told me
but
that it's like a gauntlet, and I would have been like, yes, that.
hair claw. Yeah, I'm
There we
good.
go.
I'm good. Good.
Um, so that distance is one that's super helpful because it goes to the brow, and it's roughly. I'm just eyeballing it just by looking at you here.
Yeah, because also
It's
you have a.
roughly. Wow, it's roughly. Let me see. So I'm doing this now on my phone.
I have a
It's kind of
question.
crazy.
Do
Yes,
you
go ahead.
want my iPad?
No, no, I'm good.
Because
One,
I'm. I mean,
two. No, no, no. I'm good. I'm totally fine.
okay.
Promise.
Because it's
Promises,
like a
promises.
tiny, tiny screen. So.
Promises, promises. So I'm doing this. So it's actually like in the middle, like where the two brows would meet doing this. So that's pretty cool. So that's one, two, and then three. This is crazy. Oh shit. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Can I do this? This is gonna be weird. So that distance one. So it's one and then two. Let me check and see if they're the same. Yeah, they're same-ish. Same-ish, I would say. And then three. Yeah, it's kind of like here. Kind of eyeballing it. But that's kind of strange because the second one is actually no. That's not bad. Yeah. So that's going to be the tip of your nose. So now we already know that for these, it's for us to fit that little bit of hair there,
Mm-hmm.
which I do think, yeah, I think this is okay. So this is a mix of me measuring and eyeballing it because I don't enjoy measuring. Honestly, it's boring, but to me, it's crazy boring. Um, so I still have to, I still want to react to my drawing a little bit. And I want drawing to teach me something and not just to like be a machine that like measures. Because
Mm.
that's honestly, that's too boring. If drawing becomes just measuring, it's just insufferable. Um, um, so that would be tip of your nose, which would make the mouth. Well, I actually thought the mouth was going to go here too when I was sort of eyeballing it. And that's not bad now that we give ourselves that. Um, I wasn't following. I think I was tipping your head too much also, which is it's okay. But now that I'm checking the angle in your brow, it's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty good. So that means that this eye. I don't remember. We had an issue with this eye. I wonder where I drew it. I think it was. I think I see my underdrawing, and it was up here. Maybe I was better. I was more in tune with that angle when I did the first drawing than when I was doing the underpainting.
I remember that what you were saying about that eye
Yeah.
was that the distance between the bridge of the nose and the beginning of
Too
the
big?
eye was too big. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were like pushing it a little
Yeah,
bit
that's the
closer.
thing. I wasn't like this space but like between the brows, this little almost like trapezoid, like
Mm-hmm.
upside down trapezoid that forms here, like this arrow, like the base of an arrow that would be pointing downwards.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's super important because those are your eye sockets here,
Mm-hmm.
and then from that distance, I mean, there's a slight plane here that has to turn to give your nose width,
Mm-hmm.
but from there you can kind of tell, okay, my eye is starting right there, and I usually help myself with those. But the thing is, because many times I've been so negligent with my like axes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, is it axes? Axes? Axes. I don't know what the plural of axes is. Axes. Maybe it's
Mm.
axes and just that. You don't really pronounce it differently. The axes and the axes. Axes.
Axes. Well, axis, it says plural axis or rare axes.
Oh, I'm going to be rare. Oh, let's pull that out then. I mean, I'm not wrong. I'm just
So
rare. So,
singular AXIS,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
plural AXES, or
Axis. Yeah.
AXIIS.
I?
EE? Ese.
How do you pronounce that though?
Axes.
Axes. Axes.
Axes.
Axes. I have
Axes.
no idea. I've never seen
Axes.
like a double I in English.
Yeah,
So,
me neither.
yeah. Anyways, so I'm pretty negligent about that. And that can lead to a lot of like dumb little issues when drawing. So let's see if we can make this work. I'm not gonna start measuring like the width of my nose. Like from here, if I have these, I'm like, okay, let's see if we can make this work. Like now by eyeballing it. Um, if not, then I'll try to get more help from my little structure. But let's see if we can start placing things and see if they fit more naturally in here. By the way, I covered the whole thing with like a layer of liquid,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I can kind of freely draw on top.
Mm-hmm. Right before
Um,
we started.
yeah, almost like an oiling out. So let's see how that goes.
So let's say hi.
Yeah, we have to. So
Uh, Rat Dog was saying eggs. Just say eggs.
egg,
LOL.
where, what?
Axes, axis. I don't know.
Oh, just say eggs. Okay, there
Uh,
we go.
let's see. Danny Khalifa was saying hi. Hey, Danny. Miora was saying hi. Hey, Miora. How are you? Pankernik dice buenas. Y dice quería dormir una siesta, pero ahora creo que tengo que pintar. y
No,
unos
pues
emojis de unos
tranquilo.
ojos.
Vaya a dormir
Fuimos
tranquilo.
el... No,
Sí, no.
pero eso a veces pasa, que uno
¿Qué?
sabe que tiene que hacer algo, pero uno dice, no, ¿sabe qué? Voy a descansar. A mí me ha pasado. Y después abro el
No me lo
celular o
digas.
algo. Me pasaba, ¿sabes cuándo? En la universidad,
Sí.
que estaba muy cansada
Te
y yo decía,
pasaba.
¿qué?
Te pasaba.
Ya no me pasa, ¿qué tal?
No, no.
Que yo decía, no, voy a recostarme un segundo y ahorita hago, no sé, el ensayo que tengo que hacer. Y apenas me iba a recostar, miraba algo en el celular y salía algo parecido del ensayo. O algo que me hacía sentir culpa y yo, "Ugh", entonces me tocaba pararme a trabajar. Entonces de pronto fuimos eso para Pankernik. Pankernik a trabajar. Y
Vaya a dormir,
Pankernik,
Pankerni. Sí,
sí.
pobre.
Berika was saying hello. Hey, Berika.
Veruca Salt.
Liad was saying hello, happy Halloween.
Oh, thank you. Same to you.
And Liad was
Same to
saying,
everyone. For
yeah, same
everyone,
to
I
everyone.
guess.
I put
Yeah.
it in the title
Oh,
because
okay, there
I,
we
I
go.
like I like Halloween. I think it's cool. I like the costume part of it. We didn't do
No,
costumes.
I was very sick.
No, but I like that part. I was gonna say I really like it. And Liad was saying if they don't choose an artist, just do a self portrait and send that.
Yeah, but Leah, you know what it is? It's I'm sure some people would be okay with that, but then other people could hold me responsible to what I have to answer to in the Kickstarter, which is not that I'm going to do whatever painting, but that it was going to be like a personalized painting in that sense, like a
Yeah, that
commissioned
they
painting.
would choose.
So if
Well, but
they
not commission.
well, it is a commission of
Subject.
sorts.
A commission of a
No, no, no. I
subject.
want to make it clear. It's not and I know why you're saying it, Danny. It's not a commission in the sense that I'm hoping, although you never know, like all these things happen. But I'm hoping that when people get their books and they get their paintings, like they'll be like, oh, this is cool. Like this makes sense. It makes sense with every single painting that I've seen of, that I've painted, and it's just consistent, and I'm pushing something, and and hopefully that's great. I hope that there's not people, or I hope that that number is just, non existent to very, very small people saying, like, hey, this is not what I asked. I'm sorry, but this is not what I asked for. And we'll deal with that. Like, I always try to problem solve, and I always try to be very diligent when, dealing with people. And that I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, but in many ways, this is not like a commissioned piece in the sense that it's like, hey, I told you all these things and you didn't meet them, so here's your painting back. If it comes to that, fine. I'll get the painting back, and I'll refund the painting, the value of the painting, and that's it. But hopefully, people will understand that it's like, no, it's like a cool surprise. Like, I know I've been sharing like a bunch of them, but you guys haven't seen, like, you guys have probably seen through Instagram like a third of them, not
Hmm.
even. So no, not even close actually.
No, because
So
you have a
yeah, there's a
ton.
ton of them.
Yeah.
So I want them also to be like surprise. That people can be like, oh, you open up your book and it's like, wow, look at that. That's how he painted blah.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it just, hopefully it works. But yeah, but it's not a commission in the sense that people didn't commission me to do something. But there is, and this is like, in terms of Kickstarter, there is something very specific that is being offered, and I have to meet that. I have to, because people could say, hey, you didn't, this is what you said you were going to do, and you didn't do it for me. I just took a little longer. It's my fault. Fine. But you're still not giving me what you said that you were going to give me. So that's why I'm going to say, sure, no, I can meet your dates, but they have to be different from the ones that, you know, from the people that were answering on time. That's going to be the only issue. Like, you're not going to get yours as quickly as you want.
Mm, let's see. Red Dog was saying, sup, Danny and Nico, and chat.
What's up?
Hey, Red Dog. Javier Ugarte was saying, hola Dani, Nico y chat. Hola Javier, ¿qué tal?
que dice
Hoy no hay nada de
Ugarte.
tomar. Javier, acá no tengo nada por ahora. Solo por si iba a preguntar ahorita, Javier.
Javier, no joda. No, no más, Javier, no joda.
Mi mamá estaba diciendo, hi, Cholivines. Hola, mi Cholis linda. Ya no debe estar, pero hola, mi Lolis. Eh, Javier Ugarte dice, pregunta,
Sí, señor.
¿qué bebidas toma Nicolás? No,
No
mentira, estoy
empiece.
molestando. Según muchos pintores, pintar a la prima es solo un estudio. ¿Qué
Ajá.
piensan acerca de eso?
No, es una tontería.
Sí, eso no,
Pues yo
pues
no puedo
no sé, es que
controlar
para mí
cómo.
eso no
Es que como
significa,
así, pintar es pintar y
sí,
ya, dejemos la boda.
sí, no.
Pintar es pintar. Una de las pinturas más lindas que, una de las pinturas más lindas que yo considero son de las pinturas, de las mejores pinturas de la historia del arte y es de pronto, no es como la pintura más así, em, no sé, grandilocuente de Rembrandt, pero esa pintura de Hendrik bañándose en el río, esa pintura, o sea, yo estoy especulando, pero es una especulación muy educada, si puedo decirlo. No hay nada en esa pintura que diga que esa pintura él la pintó en más de una sesión. Nada,
Mm.
nada, nada, absolutamente nada. Nada, no hay brochazos o sea, no hay pintura que demuestre que había una base de pintura. El underpainting es súper visible en la pintura final, pero la diferencia entre las dos no es como una diferencia que uno vería como entre capas. Todo eso lo hace uno creer que la hizo de una y la ejecución de la imagen es de una.
Mm.
Em, y esa pintura es de lo más lindo que yo he visto en mi vida. O sea, para mí es grandiosa esa pintura.
Pues es que
Entonces,
además creo que es un poco, no sé, me parece horrible uno decir, no, a la prima no es una pintura terminada nunca, sino solo un estudio, porque entonces eso quiere decir que ya hay un juicio sobre que tiene más valor. Es como volver a la pintura en varias sesiones. Y como esa idea que mucha gente tiene como de no, algo como acabar una pintura. ¿Qué significa acabar una pintura? O sea, yo puedo acabar una pintura que empecé en una sesión, en esa misma sesión, o puedo acabar esa pintura en 10 sesiones y eso no habla para nada ni de la calidad de la pintura, ni de, o sea, no sé, se me hace súper problemático
es difícil,
esa
es
afirmación.
difícil, pero y es aún más curiosa cuando uno se da cuenta que en la historia del arte, pues ya hemos pasado por conversaciones como que tienen que ver con lo que con las diversas maneras como se puede solucionar una imagen, como para volver a enfrascarnos. O sea, todo el siglo XX estuvimos como ensanchando esa definición de lo que es resolver algo.
Sí.
Durante todo el siglo XX, para que nos devolvamos y empecemos a decir, no, pero a mí me lo escribe mucha gente. A mí me dice gente como, está súper bonito el sketch o está súper bonito el estudio. Y yo a veces siento como que lo dicen queriendo decir como, esto es menos, es como poquito.
Pero es que yo no entiendo
Y
por qué la gente asocia algo suelto con algo que tiene que ser un estudio. O sea, yo he visto unos estudios que son lo más tight del mundo.
sí, o
Esto
unas
no,
pinturas, o unas pinturas sueltas que son pinturas. O sea, hay
es
unos
que por eso es que
autorretratos
yo nunca,
hay unos autorretratos, si quieres busca uno de Helen Schierbeck. Hay un
pero si me
autorretrato,
ayudas,
Schierbeck, pon Helen
ya.
y S-C-H-E-R-E-R,
SCHER.
no, Schierf, o sea, S-C-H-J-E-R, Beck. Es que tiene una J por ahí
Sí.
metida, sí. Y busca un autorretrato que es nada, o sea, ella tiene unos autorretratos que son como tres brochazos y son increíbles. O
No,
sea,
por eso es que para mí no, no sé. Además, creo que también, espérate a ver, busco primero y ya. em, este de pronto, mira.
hay unos más económicos todavía. O sea, eso para mí es como brutal. y a ella la estamos como redescubriendo. Si quieres, busca hartos y le puedes mostrar a la gente bastantes.
Pues, pero es que me demoro
No, no,
poniendo
no, 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 no
bastantes
hay
en la
afán, no
pantalla.
hay afán, no hay afán. Eh, no, por eso yo
Ay,
decía,
mira, mira, mira este. Acá hay como
sí, es que ese primero, ese me
este. Entonces voy a
fascina.
poner este que
Es como
tiene
una,
cuatro como distintos.
digamos, una evolución. ¿Qué
Una
sería?
evolución. No, porque no es como que uno esté.
Exacto, pero es que
No, no,
iba a
yo creo
decir
que
que
diría, es una muestra de cuatro autorretratos, punto.
lo que pasa es que es
No creo que sea
cronológica.
como,
Es
sí, sí, sí,
cronológica.
pero no creo que sea como, ay, este es,
Sí, pero lo triste es que, que haya gente que lo vea como una involución. O sea, lo triste es que uno vea ese,
no, pero es que
como eso tan
uno lee de izquierda
precioso.
a derecha y de izquierda a derecha, mira cómo están las imágenes.
Sí, están, por eso digo que ojalá la gente no lo vea como una involución. No, no, como una evolución, ¿no? Estaba bien al comienzo cuando dije.
Por eso, pero es que por eso te decía que no es una evolución.
No, exacto, exacto. Es que me faltó como decir comillas.
O sea, no es como que este, uy, se quedó corto, pero esto sí es.
Pero es precioso además ver, darse cuenta cuando se es joven muchas veces se cree que ese era el objetivo y después, porque pasa con muchísimos artistas. O sea, no es, yo creo que no es, no es una cosa súper casi que instintiva y no es azaroso que los artistas comiencen súper como
Está tratando de...
educados, digamos, porque pues, educados en el sentido que están siendo fieles a como los estándares de su educación.
Ujú, de su academia.
Ujú. Y sí, educación me refiero a su educación artística, que normalmente tienen como un carácter clásico. Entonces, no, o sea, uno podría decir es que es curioso, pero no es curioso. O sea, uno cuando ve a Rembrandt, uno cuando ve a Tiziano, uno se empieza a dar cuenta que hay algo que hace que el ser humano sintetice más y sea mucho más económico y empiece a darse cuenta que las cosas que antes hacía con mucho las puede empezar a hacer con poco.
Mm,
Whistler es lo mismo. Entonces, hay un montonón de ejemplos en la historia del arte que son fascinantes. Love is Corinth es igualitico, o sea, empieza súper em, académico, como disciplinado y termina siendo como un expresionista rarísimo,
sí.
súper
Y que
chévere.
obviamente,
Lucian
sí,
Freud.
exacto.
O sea, dentro de lo que es Freud, esa atención al dibujo súper lineal que tenía al comienzo, lo traduce después al dibujo más pictórico, cuando empieza a hacer cosas como más escultóricas con los brochazos. Pero todas esas son como, no sé por qué el ser humano como que empieza ahí y después como que como que se expande desde ahí. Entonces a mí se me hace súper triste si después de semejante cantidad de esfuerzos y esfuerzos que nos han regalado unas pinturas maravillosas, nosotros todavía estaríamos como enfrascados en tener esas discusiones.
Como en entender que eso es una regresión,
Sí, pues
que
podemos decir,
nunca lo es, o
o
sea,
podemos, o sencillamente lo que estamos diciendo es, ah, pero es que a mí me gusta más a mí personalmente me gusta más cuando Helen Scherfbeck se pintaba
de esta manera
desde
y no
una
de
pintura
otra,
súper
sí.
académica. Y
Ujú,
uno puede decir, ah, bueno, eso es como uno decir, a mí me gusta una naranja y a mí me gusta una manzana. O sea,
ujú.
bien, fantástico, pero no quiere decir que lo otro pierde valor porque uno piensa que digamos que la normativa de cómo se entiende el solucionar a una pintura está dictada por como por una fuerza académica y ya.
Sí, no, y yo iba a decir que lo otro que sentía que también puede ser un poco problemático de eso es que si de pronto una persona está empezando, digamos, y
Ujú.
tiene un profesor que le dice eso, o sea, tiene un maestro que le dice, no, es que pintar a la prima es un estudio.
Sí.
Me parece súper problemático porque entonces uno ya no decide cuándo parar, como que no tiene un juicio tan claro, no empieza como a construir un juicio tan claro de cuando uno cree que debe parar una pintura,
Sí.
sino que ya hay unos parámetros que le dice, o sea, uno a veces puede estar pintando la prima y no proponerse a terminarlo en una sesión, pero decir, "Ush, me encanta cómo está de la manera en la que quería resolver esta imagen, perfecto. Pero si uno tiene esa carga de, no, es que a la prima es un estudio, empieza uno a tener como esos parámetros que le dicen, no, tiene que empujar y tiene que empujar, y eso puede hacer que uno termine dañando
Mm.
una imagen que sabía que estaba en el estado en el que uno la quería, y uno simplemente por hacerle caso a esa
Sí,
afirmación, pues termina embarrándola tenaz.
sí, yo por eso muchas veces le digo a las personas que si se interesan por ese tipo de cosas, deberían leer un libro que hizo, una como compilación que hizo Whistler.
Ujú,
Bueno, parte de ese libro es realmente él recopilando información como recortes de periódicos, de todas las críticas que le hacían. Él coleccionaba todo lo que le escribían en los periódicos los críticos de arte, que eran unas críticas durísimas, en particular cuando se estaban refiriendo como a, como el descaro que él tenía por tratar de pasar ciertas pinturas que a juicio de ellos y en el contexto en el que, pues en el que se veía la pintura en ese momento, que esto es digamos, mediados finales del siglo XIX, eh, em, a juicio de ellos, esas pinturas eran unos bocetos.
ujú,
Y decían que él era un descarado, pues así insolente por pedir una cantidad de dinero que mm, era equiparable a lo que se pediría por una pintura resuelta, por una pintura, digamos, tradicionalmente resuelta.
ujú,
Entonces, es súper bonito cómo, cómo ese que es un argumento que se transforma como en un argumento legal, eso se va a cortes, y Whistler pierde un montón de plata tratándose de defender ahí en las cortes. eh, pero es súper bonito como ese momento, primero está registrado, entonces tenemos acceso como a leer los argumentos de las personas que estaban haciendo un juicio sobre el estado de esas pinturas, pero nosotros tenemos el beneficio de también mirar lo que son, y pues invitaría a la gente que mirara, si no los tienen en la cabeza, lo que son los nocturnos de Whistler.
ujú,
Esa es una serie de pinturas que son preciosas. Miren, y porque a esos nocturnos son a los que se referían los críticos cuando decían que era un descaro que estuviera pidiendo todo ese dinero. Pero hoy en día, post siglo XX, nosotros podemos ver esos nocturnos y decir, pero ¿cómo se nos ocurre? O sea, estas pinturas son preciosas, pero no era la manera de entenderlas contextualmente en ese momento histórico. Entonces, es súper bonito ver cómo ha evolucionado como ese entendimiento nuestro y esa manera de abrir un poquitico más la definición acerca de lo que es el solucionar algo pintando, em, como para que podamos, como para decir, oigan, destapemos otra vez esta discusión.
mm,
Porque, y uno debería decir, ¿y por qué si ya, o sea, ya la tuvimos? Y
mm,
además los ejemplos que tenemos, que nos han dado como la tranquilidad de darse cuenta que, qué pasa, o sea, las cosas maravillosas que suceden cuando un artista dice, no, es que yo ya lo resolví y lo
mm,
resolví, sí, pues lo resolví en 2 horas. Usted si lo quiere resolver en 200, felicitaciones, o sea, esa es su vida, es como su prerrogativa, pero no tiene que ser la mía. O sea,
mm,
usted no tiene por qué decirme que es que cuando el tiempo que usted se gasta en algo es el que
ujú.
yo debería gastarme en algo. Eso
Sí, sí,
no,
sí.
eso no tiene sentido. Entonces, destapar eso otra vez es tontísimo.
Sí.
Son
Pues es como
discusiones que
tratar
ya
de
existieron.
tapar esa parte de esa discusión que ya hubo
Sí,
y decir, no, 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 es que no estoy hablando de eso. Yo sé que eso ya se habló, pero es que esto es un hecho. No, no, o sea, no. Y lo que tú hablabas con como el
mm,
tiempo que se dedica uno a hacer algo, yo creo que eso es mucho de lo que la gente que tiene ese argumento es como con lo que se escuda, porque yo siento que ellos asocian la economía de tiempo para realizar una obra con pereza. O
sí,
sea, lo malentienden como si fuera pereza, porque dirán, no, pero es que esta pintura requiere muchísimo menos tiempo que esta otra en la que se demoraron un año, 6 meses, lo que sea. Pero, y yo creo que hay mucha gente frena y ve la pieza y dice, no, pero es que se sentaron 2 horas a trabajar la pieza y ya.
sí,
Pero yo creo que cuando tú estabas hablando como de como de cómo se sintetizan las formas, yo siento que la gente no entiende que todo el tiempo que se requiere para llegar a tener como para economizar, perdón, así los brochazos, para llegar a decir con solo 3 brochazos algo. Eso requiere muchísimo tiempo, entonces eso de pereza no tiene
Sí, no,
nada.
es una
O sea,
barbaridad.
la toma de decisiones así, con ese nivel de síntesis, es absurdamente difícil. E incluso muchas veces uno termina es sobretrabajando algo, porque es que no pudo llegar ahí con 2 brochazos, ni con 3, ni con 10. Entonces uno empieza a pensar, de pronto con 50 brochazos lo logro.
Sí,
Entonces, sí, sí,
que
sí.
pasa en todos los campos. O sea, a ti, por ejemplo, te encanta Oliver Jeffers y
Mm,
pues la economía del trazo de Oliver Jeffers pues es súper
sí,
evidente.
impresionante. Sí.
Pues es un genio dibujante, un
Ujú,
genio. O sea, cualquiera que, si alguien cree que eso es fácil, hágalo. Es
mm,
como así de sencillo, es como, a ver, haga usted ese árbol.
ujú.
O sea, haga un árbol con ese carácter, con esa personalidad, o
Sí.
haga un oso con esa
Sí, y
personalidad.
no es, no, ya lo vio en el replíquelo, no es, hágalo usted, porque es él el que llegó a sintetizar así
Ah,
el
sí, si es
dibujo, su
copiarlo, pues es
dibujo.
como, uno puede copiar un Velázquez, yo puedo copiar un Velázquez, y pues apesto, pero se puede copiar.
Mm,
Pero hacer un Velázquez, ver un modelo enfrente y hacer un Velázquez, producir un Velázquez, no. Eso
mm.
sí, lo hacen, son genios.
A ver. So Briley Moreno was saying Happy Halloween.
Briley.
Briley, Happy Halloween.
I saw Briley with some, I don't know. He had some face paint of something, if I'm not
What was
mistaken.
it, Briley?
I
Let us
forget.
know.
Yeah, it's some sort of monster something.
And
I
I
don't know.
also
Maybe
want
I'm
to know,
mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken, but
I want to know if people dressed up as something. I would be curious to know what was your costume for Halloween. If you want to share it with us, I would be super happy to read it. Mau Razo dice, hola, feliz Halloween. Hola, Mau, feliz Halloween. Halloween iba a
¿qué
decir.
ibas a
Es que
decir?
es Mau Razo. Iba a
Ah,
decir Halloween, no sé, me enredé.
sí, no, está bien.
Em,
This is Halloween, this is Halloween.
así él entra a un
Mm,
cuarto a saludar.
mm,
Se
mm,
está
mm, mm,
presentando
mm.
él.
Esta canción es
This is
chévere.
Halloween. Leslie Cavazos Garduño is saying,
Gabazos Carduño.
hi guys, happy Halloween and Day of the Dead.
Mm.
Loving the color story. And a emoji with stars in their eyes.
Eh, ¿Cuál linda?
No sé.
Venga, Leslie, ¿cuál?
¿Cuál?
¿Cuál historia, Leslie? ¿The Color Story? No
No
sé.
sé. Pankernik was saying,
¿Qué
is this
dice?
a spooky Halloween painting?
Spooky because my drawing is scaring me, how bad it is. But aside from that, I mean, there's nothing scarier than drawing. Let's face it. Drawing can scare the crap out of me. If you told me draw a bicycle because a zombie is about to get you, I'm like, zombie, come here and help me measure this because this is horrible. You know, this is tough to do. Yeah,
Terrible
no,
example, but yeah, I
I
kind
know.
of
But
got
drawing a
what you're
bicycle,
saying.
yeah, scared shitless. Like if you want to see me run, oh my god, ellipses.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if they give you 2 doors, one has the challenge of doing ellipsis,
Oh, eat my brain,
and the other
zombie.
one's like a
Eat my
zombie. Yeah.
brain. Yeah, just go. Just let's get this over with. Can't draw a bike. Just like okay, let's face it.
Liad was saying, I don't push through being sick anymore. Now I aggressively sleep until I'm better. Usually makes the whole process much quicker.
I know, but you know what? I've never.
You're a terrible sleeper.
Yeah, I just don't.
I think I can say that
The other
100%.
night, I was gonna go. Like, I wanted to go to bed early, like 7. You know, like geriatric early. But I was just feeling really bad, and I went to bed, and at 7:30, I was like, you know what? I could try to advance these couple of portraits.
Yeah.
And then I stood up and I started
No,
kind
I
of
remember
painting.
because I was going to go to bed
Yeah.
and I was like, "Hey, are you coming?" And you were like, "Yeah, I felt like bad. I
Yeah, I
I
don't
like I
know.
needed
Yeah.
to do something." So
No, I just don't like being in bed. I just
yeah,
don't.
but I think you're bad. You are a bad relaxer
Okay, I didn't know that was a term, but sure,
and a
let's go with
bad
that.
sleeper,
Yeah, yeah. I
like a
don't.
terrible sleeper.
Yeah, it's sleeping. Sleep bores me to death. Yeah,
I love it.
I know you do. I don't like if somebody told me, okay, you need 4 hours, I'd be like, okay, let's get this over with, like super quickly. Like I don't
Four
care.
hours?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But even that, I would be like, because
No, that's
I
terrible.
do
I would
think I
need
need four
like
hours.
8
No,
or 10.
I do need. I think I function like wonderfully with 4 hours. Because if not, and I'm sorry, you could tell me like, no, your body needs it, and I'm like, yeah, but my brain is like, I'm just not happy here. So I would be the sort of person that says nope. I mean, maybe I don't know, and maybe people's bodies are different. I don't know.
Mm, let's see. Liet was saying, Nicolas, do you think it's your ability to access your drawing skills, or could it be more an issue of patience and attention?
Oh, I'm very impatient, Liat. So yeah, but I think I guess you can make a point in saying that attacking something or taking risks or trying to kind of like destroy something so you can cobble it back together. That doesn't have to be an impatient act. You could you could say that that's true, I think, and I think it kind of makes sense. Like there's nothing really stopping you from like I don't know. Now that I think about it, that act doesn't require you to be haste or to do things hastily or to be impatient. I think the thing is I am sort of impatient. Part of the reason that I'm always like putting paint and just moving paint around is because I think I'm just naturally impatient. I think one of the reasons that I just I fail miserably when I try to do watercolor or anything with like water miscible paints is because drying times just exasperate me. Like just literally watching paint dry is just it's as boring as it sounds for me. It just I can't deal with it. So what I tend to do with gouache or with watercolor when I know that it's like okay, I should let this paint layer settle, what I tend to do is overcompensate, and what I do is like grab thicker paint in gouache, for example, and I know exactly what I'm doing, and I know that I mean, I can make it work, but it's not great. So instead of like letting it dry and making it a base so that I can like slowly build it up, what I do is I have like this wash that hasn't set quite already, and then I say, okay, but it's set enough. But if I just grab this and paint and make it thicker, I can put it and lay it on top, and it's going to stay on top just because paint works that way. It doesn't matter if it's acrylic or watercolor or gouache. It doesn't matter. Like thick, you could put on top of thin, and if you do it with a subtle, hand, if you have soft hands like applying paint, you could do it. You could get away with it. But I know that sometimes that's not the point. Like the point is just to manage, drying times, and that sort of stuff is like it drives me nuts. It drives me crazy. So I kind of know that I just don't have the personality for it. It's like when I see Antonio Lopez painting, I'm like, God bless this human being, because you know if they told me it's like, dude, the world is gonna end if you don't paint a painting like that. I'm like, pack it up, like blow it up right now. I just can't do it. I don't have the personality to do it. I see a building and I'm like, don't make me measure that thing. Don't make me measure that, please. Oh God, no. So I'm sorry if humanity lies on me trying to paint like Antonio Lopez, if the fate of humanity just lies in that very
In the same
fine
manner of Antonio
line.
Lopez, because I don't think that anyone can.
Oh no, yeah, you can't paint like him. Yeah, we're dead. We're dead. I caused extinction. It was in my hands, but I would be like, hey, my hands are stupid. Sorry. I'm sorry. Couldn't do it. I could deal with that. And probably you know, I know I could deal with that because we would be dead and I wouldn't have to deal with the consequences. So, um, Yeah, so I just don't. I think it's a mix of being bold, but also being impatient.
Red Dog was saying, "Hi Danny, excuse me, can you write the name of the artist here in the chat if it's not going to bother you?" Of course, but I don't know what artist.
I'm guessing Helen Schierbeck, maybe.
Really? Or maybe John, the because we were talking about drawing.
So let's say Helen Schierbeck, and the person that but which person? The Tom Flaherty, the one that I was mentioning at the beginning.
Because I saw that someone was saying John something here.
John. Who did I mention? John. I don't think I
Let
mentioned
me
John.
look for it because I was just seeing. Oh,
Maybe
it
it's
says
Tom.
message retracted.
Okay, yeah, it's Tom Flaherty. So it's Tom. I'm guessing if I'm mispronouncing Tom's name, it's my fault. But Tom Fluharty.
Are we? Have we spoke about
We've
any
spoken
other
about him.
artist?
Yeah.
No. Any other? Because you said Helen, Tom,
Schierbeck?
and
Oh, Whistler. James
also?
Abbott McNeil Whistler. I gave you all the names.
Let's see.
James Abbott McNeil. Am I missing one? James Abbott McNeil Whistler. No. It's like John Singer
Uy,
Sargent.
dice,
Dennis Miller Bunker.
dice
Yeah.
Gabriela Pérez. Dice, Oli,
Ay,
hace mucho que no lograba entrar
felicitations.
en live. ¿Cómo van?
Felicitations
Uy, la
a
próxima señora.
a la señora. Sí, ahora sí, señora.
Ahora sí es la reina
La reina de la
del
casa.
drama. ¿De la casa? No, pero ¿qué es esto? Gaby, felicitaciones.
Felicitaciones. La verdad ya estaban como casados, entonces esto es como una
No, pero
formalidad.
yo entiendo que
Pero felicitaciones.
para
Iba a
la
decir,
gente que significa mucho casarse.
pero felicitaciones.
O sea, sí, yo
Yo
entiendo
cada
que hay
rato.
mucha gente.
Gaby sabe que desde hace rato yo le decía, bueno.
Bueno, ¿qué?
Pero pues que se iban a casar. Es que era como, no sé, todo
Pero yo no,
apuntaba para allá.
bueno, pero yo nunca asumo que la gente se va a casar.
No, pero
Porque, o sea, no es como, bueno, que están esperando, porque pues no siento que, bueno, no sé. No siento
no,
que
no es
eso
nuestro
sea
caso,
como.
no es nuestro caso, pero uno,
No, yo sé,
no
pero no
sé.
siento que eso sea como,
No, pero esto no era como ninguna.
como que toca el siguiente paso, como
No.
si eso fuera un siguiente paso, yo no. Pero pues los felicito, porque
Estamos.
con eso los felicitamos,
Sí,
porque entiendo 100% que pues si se van a casar es porque se querían casar
claro.
y pues me alegra mucho. Y el anillo muy lindo, Gaby, muy Gaby, muy Gaby. O sea,
Gaby, estoy en lo correcto. Es que lo vi una vez, pero es como una coronita, ¿o no?
sí, con morado.
Con unos. Ay, esa no me acuerdo cómo se llama esa piedra. Ay, bueno, no me acuerdo. Pero no, felicitaciones. O
Gaby
sea,
manda un corazoncito y dice,
muy.
jaja, ahora sí pueden decirme señora, pero cuando nos casemos, jaja.
La señora de. La señora de.
No, ese de
Mi
está.
mamá decía Olga Beninghoff de Uribe.
Sí, no, mi abuela también, pero.
Pero mi mamá, que me gustó mucho, o sea, después de, no por el hecho de que muriera mi papá, pero después de que murió mi papá, mi mamá empezó a decir Olga María Beninghoff, que a mí me gusta, es como, es que a mí no me gusta, o sea, la verdad, esa etapa nuestra, y yo sé que es lenguaje, pero ese D es como, porque es como propiedad.
Sí,
A
ese
mí nunca
de.
me gustó. Mi mamá
No.
cuando decía el nombre, yo me acuerdo cuando chiquito, decía Olga María de Uribe. Y yo decía, mamá, di tu nombre. O sea, en mi
Sí.
cabeza yo era como, tú no te llamas
Pues
así.
es que yo te lo digo porque mi abuela decía Elizabeth de Díaz y
Mm,
yo hasta mucho tiempo después supe cuál era el apellido de mi abuela.
sí, no,
O
no,
sea, es
no.
como
No,
entonces quedó borrada.
a mí nunca me gustó. Yo me
No,
acuerdo yo
además
chiquito. Además, a mí
de
chiquito,
nadie, ¿de qué
el
hablan?
Beninghoff se me hacía la chimba. Entonces yo decía, mi mamá,
Nicolás, estás hablando súper grosero. No me gusta. Te voy a silenciar.
a mí el Beninghoff se me hacía la chimba. Entonces yo
Ay,
decía, no, mi amor, si me silencias es porque estás en contra del apellido de mi mamá. Entonces me haces el favor,
no.
me haces el favor,
Respetas.
Beninghoff. Entonces yo decía, porque mi mamá no se dice Beninghoff. Pero era tradición, o sea, al final eso era tradición y ya. Pero, felicitaciones a la señora.
A ver, Gaby dice, jaja. Ah, no, eso ya. Dice, es una corona de amatistas. Chris,
Amatistas.
en serio me conoce mucho, jaja. Y dice, ay, si Chris tuviera un apellido muy cool, lo
Moncada,
haría.
¿no?
pero
De Moncada.
perejil es demasiado chévere como para cambiarlo por un de Moncada. Sí, yo no lo haría. Yo.
Además de Moncada suena como una palabra. Uy, estoy más de
Sí.
Moncada con todo este trabajo,
Sí.
güey, madre.
Gabriela está de Moncada.
Está de
Está
moncadísima.
súper de Moncada.
No, no, pero ahí sí es como, como está cascadísima.
Es que sí suena
Uy, está de
de
Moncada.
Moncada.
No la vio,
Sí.
trabajó 3 días seguidos,
Sí.
salió de Moncada.
Pero felicitaciones, Gaby. Mm,
Como los diseñadores, como que eran como los ilustradores diseñadores que los masacraron ahí en
no,
esa
pues eso
cosa
sí,
que
demoncadísimos,
trabajaron yo
pobrecitos.
no sé cuántas horas seguidas
No, hay que demoncar esa
y
empresa,
todo el
más
mundo,
bien.
uy, no, nos demoncaron. Su hijo de madre nos demoncaron.
A ver. Rosaline Dion
Oh,
is
Rosalind.
saying, hello, OPL. Love this painting of Danny. Hey,
Rosalind.
Rosalind. Rosalind, I haven't been able to do any of the captions
Yeah.
of Oliver Jeffers' contest, but I've seen yours. I have to give them a like.
What? I don't know
Oh,
this.
it's so cool because
Yeah?
Rosalind shared this with me.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you, Rosalind.
no, because she knows that I love Oliver
Oh,
Jeffers.
no, I'm just saying thank you to Rosalind. We know
So,
where she stands.
Oliver Jeffers is doing like some raffles
Oh,
of
that's so cool.
3 drawings of
No way.
ghosts.
Of the ghost book,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you have to caption it. Like the
Okay.
best caption every single day wins.
And the best caption by upvotes
No,
or
well,
or he
yeah.
decides?
No, I thought it was gonna be that he decides, which would be super cool, but it's
Yeah.
by likes.
Oh no, I don't like that. I
You
don't
don't
like that.
like that
No,
by
no. I think
likes?
that's lame. I think that those contests can be super cool, but he should be able to say, "I like this one."
Let me see, cause maybe
Yeah, because
but
I
I'm
don't
sure
like
it was.
anything that's like upvotes. It's like, okay, who has more friends, or who can make more people do this, or who has a way to like
So let me
fake
read
doing
first.
this.
It says, yeah, cause
Yeah,
it's whoever comes up with the best caption, and in parentheses it says the one with the most likes.
yeah. That's just the way. Honestly, they
It's
do it. I mean,
engagement, yeah,
he's super nice guy, but and
yeah.
he's above anything that I could ever say. Like that dude is like decent and good and kind. Um, but that's how you just drive engagement. So I don't know. I don't like those things. But yeah,
Yeah,
because you
because
can
you
have like a
could.
super funny comment,
Yo,
and
because there's been super cool comments, to
I
be
know,
honest.
but yeah, but it doesn't. Sadly, those don't necessarily win. You can have Rosalind a smorgasbord of comments. She's gonna get that, I think.
So you're trying to win Rosalind
A
back.
little bit, a little bit.
No,
Yeah, a little bit.
no.
She tasted a smorgasbord for smorgasbord.
What's that?
That's I you know that I have no idea which smorgasbord is. The thing is I just listen to like the Swedish Chef, like the Muppets, the Swedish Chef, if I hear it like smorgasbord. But I know like smorgasbord is just like putting like a ton of shit together, like just like but I have no idea what's in it.
Un
I'm
calentado.
guessing that it's like too much stuff in there.
So it would be a calentado in
Oh, you
Spanish.
should like look it up, but don't tell me, and I'll try to guess. It's gotta have fish. If there's like if it's Swedish, it has to have some fish. Like, cause what else are they eating? I mean, there's nothing else. Um,
Well, no.
it doesn't have fish.
Well, it has anything because it says a type of Swedish meal
Okay, thank you for giving me like.
originating in Sweden.
Okay, you gave me like 2 seconds, but I thought we could like stretch this game. But
Oh,
thank you. No, go ahead.
it says
Killed
served
it quickly.
buffet style.
Buffet,
Buffet style.
buffet.
No. With multiple hot and cold dishes of
Okay.
various food on the table. So it's like whatever. A
What does
whatever
that?
mix.
That didn't explain anything.
Well, that's what it says.
That's like a calentado. Like that's anything.
Nicolas, that's what I was saying. You're just
Sorry, I don't
stealing what
listen.
I'm saying.
I
Oh,
don't.
yeah.
I don't listen to you anymore. It was a game. You just killed it super quickly.
It says
Um,
it has from smorgas, which is sandwich. Smorgas. Plus board, so table. Plus, 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 What? So it's sandwich table. That's the origin of the word.
But that's it? It's just a lot of food? It's just
Yeah.
like whatever food? Oh god, this is lame. I now understand why we had
And
like a lukewarm fun as a reaction to this smorgasbord.
because it says there's another definition
Yeah,
that says a range of open sandwiches and
delicacies.
served as hors. Well, I don't know how to say that. Hors
What?
d'oeuvres or a
Hors
buffet.
d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres.
That thing.
Hors d'oeuvres are like you've seen hors
Hors
d'oeuvres. No, they're
d'oeuvres.
just a
I
little.
like hors
Okay.
d'oeuvres.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So like a buffet.
No, that like those little things that they'll give you like as entrees, like little. You know.
Entrees. Who am I speaking with?
Oh come on, like
Miss
little
Fancy
things.
Pants.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres. Yeah.
Hors d'oeuvres.
I thought you were. I from hearing you, I was like, ox. They're eating horse. Ox. And I was like, yeah, Swedish are messed up people. I mean, they
And
were
there's
Vikings.
another
They could pretty much eat
definition.
anything.
There's another definition that says a wide range of something.
Oh my god. This is the most non-definition, non-food I've ever heard.
Yeah. Rosaline was
Mhm.
saying it was a lot of fish.
Oh, but yeah. I mean, what else is there over there? They don't have anything else.
Salmon Cutcher was saying, oh, a sandwich made of whatever on the table.
Of salmon, maybe.
Of salmon. Robin Sita West 13 was
Robin
saying,
Sita.
happy Halloween. Been missing you. Oh, we
Oh,
too,
same.
Robin
Thank
Sita.
you. Mix of a lot of work and getting sick. So.
No, but I've had the company of Robin Sita's Chihuahuas. I've
Mhm.
been sharing them with Nicolas.
Oh yeah.
I am so happy to see them.
Yeah.
I have
Thank you for
to
the
I have to
spam.
up my game cuz I think that Robin Sita has access to like way more chihuahuas than I've ever
Yeah,
seen in my
she's
life.
like Cruella.
So,
She has
like Cruella.
chihuahuas like coats in her
Like
closet.
Dalmatians.
Yeah, yeah.
And Robin Sita was saying, love Nico's hand parallel to Danny's.
All right. Oh. There we go.
By
By the way, I think this is better. I feel a lot more confident about the proportions now in the head, because I realized that my width wasn't that bad, except that because I was making the features larger and I was dropping them a little bit lower, it just gave the sense of it being really elongated. So I'm happy that I went through this stage.
Steve Weeds was saying meatballs.
Yeah,
Well, I
they
think
have
everything
meatballs.
goes. Okay.
Well, the Swedish
Yeah.
meatball. Yeah.
Yeah. Salmon was saying, I'm not a fish, even though I'm cold blooded. And Rosalind was saying, Steve, there were meatballs and fish, but I learned to like it. Promise, no shade, Swedish friends.
No, I mean, I'm guessing it's just food, you know?
Yeah.
Like it has no rhyme or reason. It's just food.
That's
a lot of food.
why we were referring to a dish here in Colombia that's called calentado. So it's like the translation would be like reheated.
And you just take leftovers.
And you just take your leftovers and you
mix them up.
mix them.
You know, they could be different plates. You just put everything like in a pot, reheat it in the stove, and people usually have that early in the morning, like for breakfast.
And there's like from different regions.
Oh, it'll vary, yes.
I would eat a lot of calentado paisa.
Yeah.
So it's like the reheating version of the bandeja paisa. So beans, ground beef, rice.
I would say the more popular one
and
here in
egg.
Bogota is just like chicken and rice. You know, it's pretty much like your very basic South American chicken and rice, or Caribbean chicken and rice. Just reheat it. Which chicken and rice, by the way, taste way better the next day when you reheat it. I don't know what it is, but it just tastes way, way better.
Yeah, but for example, look, there's calentado costeño.
Oh yeah, that has fish.
No,
No
that has
fish.
meat. No,
It's got to
look,
have some fish.
it has an egg too,
Okay, yeah.
rice,
You could put some eggs.
carne desmechada,
Okay.
so shredded beef,
Yeah, yeah.
and maduritos.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Delicious,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that one's more like Caribbean style.
delicious. Now I
Yeah.
want calentado.
Yeah. And here people usually it's like drunk food. You know, it's if you go out all night, and if you're out still early in the morning, you could go to like places that they open up very early and they sell you breakfast. And you just eat that. If you're not drunk yet, so those are like the perfect nights that you've been out drinking a lot, but you never quite get like horribly drunk. And but your belly is just like, oh, we drank a lot. We need some food. We need some grease.
Mhm.
Oh my god,
Or
that's just
caldo,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
caldito, o mazorca.
No, no, no. But that's nasty though.
Well,
Just nasty.
to each its own.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the saying, but
Yeah, that's actually the saying.
oh,
Nailed it. Like
nailed it.
ox and horse.
No, it was ox,
Horse's ass.
ox, horse, something like
Straight from the horse's ass.
that. No Fear Zero
Yeah.
was saying, "Hey guys, I'm sorry. Hey guys, my friend decided to quit drawing because of this whole AI thing going
Oh
on right now. Any
no.
tips on what to tell him to lift up his spirits a little bit?
I mean, drawing is the most frustrating and beautiful thing in the world.
But also the most like natural thing for humans.
Yeah.
I mean, you even do it because it's like something your hands does.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remind him of, well, I don't know what sort of time he grew up in, but I used to draw on the sidewalk. Like we used to go get rocks, like unearthed rocks, in the neighborhood I grew up in with
Oh,
my
and draw
friends.
with them in
Yeah,
the
but
street.
we would get like red ones
Yeah.
and orange ones
Mm-hmm.
and dark ones. And then we would draw with all those colors and we would make like a hopscotch with all those colors.
Or
Or we
even
just
like the little
would drag a
fruit.
line. I remember like in where I grew up
Mm-hmm.
with my friends, we would take one and just draw like a line all throughout that like little inner street.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just draw a continuous line like when we were kids, and it was amazing. Or you just write anything you want, and you can tell like when kids you give them that and you give them a piece like a street, like they go nuts. They love it. They absolutely adore it. So be like a kid. A kid doesn't care. Like those kids are going to grow with a broadened, let's make this like a broadened definition of drawing and a broadened definition of painting, and they don't care. They're still drawing. They're still like, there's still wonderment in their eyes regarding drawing. And I do think that we have to remind ourselves of how meaningful that is. And by the way, drawing in terms of like a visual medium, a medium that communicates, in which you communicate through visually, aside from being like the most powerful one, I feel, because it's the most direct one. It's the one, when I say the most direct one in terms of visual, like the creation of like a visual language, it's the one that it's the one that needs the least tools. You need a substrate and you need a tool. That's it. You need a mark making tool and you need a surface to draw on. But that's it. There's nothing else. Nothing else. Like most other languages, let's say, that are of a visual nature, they get, more and more complicated as time goes by. But drawing is just the most basic thing we do. That, and for us, I feel it's like it's probably the equivalent of like dancing, because that dancing is just you moving to anything. It could be raindrops falling onto like a bamboo um, um, branch, and it makes a rhythm and you move to it. Or it could be making music. You can just make music by anything. You can make a beat out of anything. I think drawing is as fundamental, as basic as that, and it's really beautiful. And I really do think if you want to get to know yourself, if you want to get to understand how your perception is shaped. Drawing today, for example, it taught me about my personality. It wasn't teaching me about, hey, you're not being disciplined. Like that is the most superficial thing. But it was teaching me, hey, when you are pushing something, when you're pushing towards one side, you're also neglecting another aspect of who you are as an artist. And it's not wrong. This is not about being right or wrong. It's more about being conscious of what you're doing. So it's almost like drawing was telling me, you have to like slow down and take your time and notice how decisions that you're making may open other doors, but they're also kind of not damaging your relationship with something else that you had at some point, but they necessarily have to turn their back onto those. So if you don't want to lose those prior relationships, take care of them. And it's super cool because it does teach you about yourself, about what you care about,
Mm.
what you are emphasizing, what you're prioritizing, your hierarchies.
Yes.
um, it tells you about your shortcomings, which is
Mm-hmm.
totally fine. I mean, the bigger reason that we don't like drawing is because, you know, how many people, I'm going to do this to the side, but how many people have done, like, if they're on drawing class, you're drawing the model, or you're trying to draw like I don't know, a bicycle. And you go, okay, one line, and you draw that line with some sort of confidence, and you go like, okay, we're getting started, and you draw the next line. So one line is never wrong, or one line can be wrong in the context of the proportions of your surface. But let's say, even if you're gonna just do a detail, and you're just gonna hone in on something, like, it's not wrong. But as soon as you do a second line, so all it takes is for you to have one line and then another one for you to crumble, because maybe this line was shorter, or maybe this line was not at that angle but at this angle. So it takes two lines for you to completely destroy your ego. Completely destroy your ego. And there's nothing quite as simple as that in life, that you just go, I'm going to make one decision, and then I'm going to, make another decision based on that first one, and it's wrong, and it's off. And sometimes you don't even know why it's off. When you're trying to draw something, you're like, what the hell did I do? It's like,
Mm.
how was I wrong so quickly? Like, I've never been so wrong so quickly in my life. Like, this is ridiculous. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Drawing is so beautiful. It's so hard. It's so tough. Like, throughout history, we spoke about Kim Jong-gi. Throughout history, there's very few people, very very few people, that were master draftspeople, that were like master, that dedicated their lives. Egon Schiele, very short life, but dedicated to drawing. He did paintings, obviously, but it's obviously a life that was geared towards drawing. Like, drawing was what he did. He was a draftsman. Like, that was his life. So there's very few people that you can sense that's like, oh my God, like, there's like, the potential of drawing is like, with, it's latent in the things, in the very things that they do. That's why when I was speaking about Kim Jong-gi, I was saying how it's deflating almost when you realize that he's showing you the true potential of drawing. And then when you realize, oh my God, that's what a human being can do with a drawing tool. And then you go back to your drawing tool and you're like, oh, I do nothing. I do 10% of what can be done. I do 5% of what can be done. And you feel kind of miserable, but you also feel blessed that there was somebody to show you how far you could take such a simple tool. So I would say, you know what? Take AI out of the conversation. Take, technologies moving forward. Take all this debate out of it. And if you just pay attention to what it is and what it will always be, because I do think this is something that we carry with us. We as humanity, we as a species, there are certain things that we carry. There's this beautiful weight that we carry throughout evolution. And this is one of those things. Like, I don't know if you can take drawing away from us and think that there are, like, okay, continue being human. Like, it's very tough to envision something as, like a um uh, like that you can excise something, in such a dramatic way and expect us to be unharmed.
Mm.
I think this is us. This is like, our heart beats because of these things. So it's beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's very difficult also. Life, it's almost like a lifelong frustration. I'm sure there's artists, like genius artists, that people that we would consider like masters of their craft, that they felt that, they had to battle with drawing, throughout their whole lives for, 50 years of working, 60 years of working. And there's nothing that can be more beautiful than that, than a person that we consider, oh my God, this, they are, again, pointing us and guiding us into what the true potential is. And when you hear them say, oh, I never quite learned how to do that, I never quite knew how to do that, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So maybe maybe your friend just has to remind themselves of, like, this bigger notion, this notion that it's far broader than our understanding, even, that it has to do with drawing, you know. Some people may say, "No, come on, shut up. Drawing is like distances, distances and angles, and that's all it is." Like, one of my favorite artists in the world, Edwin Dickinson, said that. I think that's a very Charles Hawthorne thing, but he said drawing is distances and angles. And I mean, it is, but it's also far more deeper than that. And Dickinson was a gorgeous draftsman. So I'm sure that, even though at the barest technical formal level, it is, distances and angles, you're able, through something that is like, and perhaps that it's what's beautiful about it, something that is, at its conception, can be described so simply. It's also a tool that can be incredibly moving, incredibly moving. So I would say, just remind yourself of that, regardless of what happened. I always think of drawing or painting as something that we do, and that humanity has chosen to do in spite of. And I think that that's very, very important. I think historically, we have chosen to draw, chosen to paint in spite of, and I think that's just the way we should always look at it. So there's a thousand reasons why you in your life would say, that's too frustrating, I'm just going to stop. Like, that's too much, or this is too complicated, this is too annoying, or just there's no context in this world right now for me to draw. This is not going to be the first time where it's difficult for people to draw. I think it's always been tough,
Mm.
always.
And I was also going to say that I think it's interesting but sad for me to
Hmm.
see that people are looking at it as if it's like something that's already taken. So it's like, oh no, now I can't draw because it's taken by AI or whatever. But I would also say, I mean, before we knew about AI, there were still millions of artists working. So if it's about like artistic images or like artistic products being created, there still were a lot of things. Like every single day, there were like thousands of images appearing and being created. So I think that it's not something that's just like I took this one, you have to look for something else. Because
Yeah.
now this one belongs to me, or in this case, this one belongs to AI. So you can touch it. So you can't draw
Do
anymore.
do 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 do
What?
do. No, you can't touch it.
Um,
Sorry.
and
No,
yeah,
but
I
you're
don't
you're
know. And
very
I
right.
think that
It
it's
doesn't
also
belong to anyone.
exactly. And
It's not for anyone to claim.
I think it's sad because I feel that there's a lot of despair
Yes.
in nowadays for trying to be the only one that does this thing. Like I'm the one that does this thing. I'm the one that is the best in this. I'm the one. And I mean, it's not like, oh no, now I'm not going to draw because now AI is creating images. Because there were still people that could draw like 100 times better than you did. And you were still drawing and you were still enjoying drawing. So it's not like now you can't draw because AI is creating images, or you can't paint, or you can't paint digitally. So I don't
Yeah,
know. I
you're very right on that. Like, you wanted to draw after I'm hoping, but you wanted to draw when you realized very quickly that you will never draw like Kim Jung-gi.
exactly.
You wanted to draw when you realized very quickly that you can't draw like Egon Schiele.
Mm-hmm.
You
And you
wanted
were
to
even fueled by it.
Yeah, you wanted to draw when you realized that you would never draw like Henrik Klei.
Mm-hmm.
That you could never draw like the best of Bernie Wrightson, that you could never draw like Franklin Booth and Joseph Clement Cole. There's in I'm saying you when I'm actually saying all the artists that I know that I could never even come close to drawing like them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still devoured by drawing. I'm still fascinated by drawing. You know, but it's I'm fascinated by how drawing is going to manifest in my life. That's what I'm fascinated with, but not the fact that these beasts could draw circles around me.
Mm.
No, like that's never been the point. Never ever. And I said this the other day, but when did we choose art because it was easy? Like,
Mm.
I'm sorry, but show me the historical moment in our like humanities um visual history where you could just say, I'm going to be an artist, and it was fun and easy and it was zero traumatic. Like, all the lives of the artists are full of like trauma. Like, they're difficult lives. Like, only very few artists just kind of had smooth sailing and were like, no, I'm good, I'm rich, and they're paying me tons of money, and yeah, that's totally fine. um, I'm sorry, but that's just not the truth. It doesn't mean that we need to suffer. It just means that it's a hard job. It's very tough. It's very, very tough. It's been historically very, very tough. It's a job that like requires a ton of like sacrifice. It's a job that requires a ton of self-discipline, a ton of work, like a crazy, crazy amount of work. People nowadays are very much about having I mean, this is very true for workplaces, but a lot of people go like, "Oh, I shouldn't be working, too much." Like, there's a moment where you work too much. I mean, yes, but if you told people throughout, like, artists throughout history, like, "Hey, get your 8 hours of sleep. I think you're working too much." It's like we would have 10% of the greatest things that humanity has ever done. We wouldn't have a Sistine Chapel. We wouldn't have the Raft of the Medusa. Could you imagine, like, Jericho saying, "I gotta, I have to live with like limbs you know, taking off of cadavers to be able to understand death, the rotting, death, just so that I can paint death in my painting." Could you imagine like that happening today? People would be like, "Dude, no, you don't need to. You think you need to, but you don't need to. Like, don't push yourself that hard. Like, don't push that like too far. That's way, way too far. Just don't.
Or
Don't do
someone
that."
else saying, someone else already have done that. So it's taken. So you don't do it.
Yeah, no.
So
It's about pushing. It's about things being tough. It's about, discovering things about yourself because you've pushed. I think that's beautiful. Beautiful. So I'm sorry, but it's never been easy. If you wanted an easy job, like there's tons of jobs that are just maybe society has like places for the X amount of people that are going to study those careers. Not art. Art doesn't have a place for everyone. It doesn't have, it's the most ridiculous of careers, to be honest. The most ridiculous of careers choices, because there's never enough universities that you could, or art schools, or faculties, or ateliers, or workshops that you could be a teacher. There's never enough for the amount of people that graduate. There's never enough studios for people that are animators or concept designers. There's never enough. There's never like it's always a limited amount of spaces for those people. So and what's ridiculous is that we keep studying. We as human beings keep saying, "I want to study art. I want to be an artist. I want to study art. I want to be an artist." There's more artists today than there were ever in history. I'm sure of it, just because of like how many people are on Earth. But I'm positive of that. Positive. It's just a rational. It's a completely rational way of thinking about it. It's common sense. But we are going against the very nature of this thing that is like, hey, but there's only very limited jobs. Like, why are you guys? Why do you guys keep studying? And you know, we can only give the most irrational of answers, which is like, I don't know, I just feel the need to study
Mm.
because I just want it. Like, it's important for me.
Yeah, and now that you're saying about the need, I was reminded of that example that you were giving. I think it wasn't even about AI, but you were saying if you were dropped like in an island alone, so no one can see what you're gonna do, would you still paint? Would you still draw?
Yeah.
And I think the answer for a lot of people here, as it is for you and for me, would be yes, I would, because it's something you feel like you need to.
Yeah.
It's not like it like what you're doing is validated or the emotion you're getting is validated once someone react to it. Like it's only based on that.
Yeah.
No, it's something you're also doing for you. Like you do it because you feel the urge to do it. So,
Yeah. I always try to elaborate on that and say, because, when you say, oh, it's like one of these, I'm stranded on an island thing, and there's a ton of games that you can play when you say you're stranded on an island. Um, but in terms of art, it's actually very beautiful because you could add to it and say, let's say you have every means to produce work
mm-hmm.
there, but the only condition that I'll give to you is that you can't leave with your work. Like, you're going to be stranded in this island for let's say 3 months
I was gonna say
or
three
6 months,
years.
or no, let's say 6 months, and just to not make it like super dramatic, like Tom Hanks. But you're going to be there for 6 months, and the only condition I give you is that every drawing that you'll ever do stays there.
Mm.
Like, you can't show it to. You're not going to be able to show it to people. It could be the most beautiful drawing that you've ever done. You could just say, you know what? I've never drawn palm trees. I'm just going to draw palm trees. I just want to draw them. Like, honestly, palm trees, like palm leaves, are some of the most like organic opportunities to draw, because they have like these very individual like strands that do whatever, but they also have like two very simple planes, like a top facing plane, a bottom one, and they can actually they turn in space in beautiful ways. So in terms of like a three-dimensional complex thing that you can just stare at and draw and draw and draw forever, that is the thing. And you could say, I'm going to draw the shit out of these like palm trees. And maybe, 5 months into it, you're like, oh my God, I'm making some of the most amazing drawings I've ever made in my life.
Mm.
But you have to leave them there.
Mm.
Like, would you stop drawing if you know that you had to leave everything there, and you couldn't just be rescued and come home and say, look, I have like this visual diary, and I'm going to share with you what it meant to be stuck there, during those 6 months through these, visual cues. Like, what if you don't have that? Would you draw still? And I think the answer for the people that feel this very almost like unexplainable need to draw is yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you would say yes, and you would say almost like, blindly convinced, you would say yes. And it's really interesting to realize, why do you say yes? Why do you say yes to something that is just, it's not going to be effective in doing anything? Like, it'll get you better at drawing, but we don't do like things in art are not just to get better and better and better. Like, there's no like, that's not quite a goal that is it's that easy to visualize. Like, in art, the goalposts, the end goal is constantly moving and shifting, and it just depends on so many factors. That's what's beautiful about living, with art as your company, the fact that so many things change throughout time. But why are you doing it? Like, why did you do it? Why did you decide to do it? And I think when you start to like answer to yourself, because nobody else needs these answers, they're not going to prove anything to anyone else. But when you answer to yourself, you start realizing it's like, why is there like this fundamental, like almost obligation in my, in my like artistic brain pushing me to do this, even though it just doesn't make sense for me to do this.
Mm.
Like, if I'm stranded on an island, I just have to build a shelter and I have to go and look for food and I just have to take care of, my energy. But, why am I drawing? Like, why the
Mm.
hell am I drawing? And I think that's when we start to like uncover those very simple questions. Like they almost seem like childlike questions or like those childlike scenarios. We realize, oh, that's why we draw.
Yeah.
Like that's why people, could you imagine people in a cave like saying, I'm going to draw this on this cave and I'm going to draw it maybe to educate other people that are going to inhabit this cave or that find this cave. Sure. Maybe you do it as a, hey, there's elk here and I'm going to show you that there's elk here, that I've hunted elk, and that maybe there's bears here, there's other like bigger animals here. But that there's the fact that there was somebody saying like, I'm going to draw on this wall, I'm going to grab like pigment and like the most archaic of tools to just draw these things on the wall. It's craziness. It's craziness because all you should be thinking about is shelter and not dying. Like not dying in every second. Because at that time, anything killed you. Anything. Like you stepped on a rock, you got an infection and you died.
Mm.
That's all they had to worry about was not dying. And to have such a basic like need for survival, like saying, it's my life is clear. I just need to be alive. And but for them to say, you know what? I'm gonna draw myself hunting. I'm gonna draw myself hunting here. That's awesome.
Mm.
It's amazing. It's incredible. It's incredible why we did those things. And even though that was thousands of years ago, we are the same. Like we are the same species. Like there's things that have never changed. That still remains with us. So to think that there can be something that is problematic and that is going to be tough to deal with, and that it's suddenly going to destroy that like primordial urge to do something, that
Yeah.
need, that obligation, that necessity to do something, it's craziness. It's craziness. So I'm sorry, but yeah, maybe the future is, not the brightest that it has ever looked. But when has it ever been like super bright for artists? When has it ever been like, you know what? You know what? I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm going to get, a job that pays me 150,000 a year, and I'm going to do exactly what I want to do, and I'm
No,
going to
and
have
it
like super cool bosses, and they're not going to push me, and I'm never going to I'm never going to do an image in my life that I don't want to do. It's like, no, guess what? You're going to have a shitty job that pays little, and bosses are going to push you, and you're going to do shit that you don't like to do, because being an artist is about like pushing and pushing and pushing. It's just being resourceful, I feel. So I'm sorry, but we can't give up that easy. We can't give up on something that's that fundamental, that important to us that
it's
quickly.
a need.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't. We can't.
And
Like,
also, I mean, just I was thinking about this as you were talking. It's like you were not the only artist alive before AI. You were not the only one creating images. Why would you stop now? Because there's more images? I mean, it has to do with more images being available for people to see, but it has nothing to do with what you create. Because you're going to still create what you're going to do. I mean, I don't know. I always go back to that idea of that, like, something's taken.
yeah,
It's not taken. I mean,
no, it
there's
doesn't belong to anyone.
exactly, and there's place for anyone that wants to draw. It's not like, oh, I wanted to be an artist, but I just like did the research, and there's already a million artists, so it's full. I can't.
That's
No.
that's way too in effect. I mean, I understand that way of looking at life, and especially for people like young people are probably bombarded right now with a world that's like, hey, there's no good jobs for you, and you're not going to get paid enough, and whatever job you get, it's not going to, you're not going to have good health insurance, and those things with roofs on top, those things that you call houses, yeah, you're never going to be able to afford one. And there's a whole generation that's trying to be like, hey, I want to give myself the best shot at having like a whole life, like, a life that can be about, living in a house, and having enough time, spare time, to do what I like. You could do anything, like me. Like if you want to paint little figures or something in your future, to envision a life that can give you enough time and tranquility that, when you're older, you just say, I'm going to stop working. I've worked enough, and I'm going to paint little miniatures. And and that's a beautiful thing. But I also don't think that because it's scary, then it's justified, because it's always been tough and it's always been scary. So I also understand that it's like, oh, but the future is very grim. Like for us, for our generation, it's going to be very tough. And I would say yes, and I understand it. I understand it. Like opportunities in terms of jobs or education, they were a little bit better, in past generations. If people wanted to work, all you needed was like a willingness to work, and there was a job for you in which whatever you were doing. Um, yeah, it's tough, but I don't. My point is, it's never been easy. Maybe the opportunity was there, but it
Mm.
was it was always going to be a tough job.
And it
Um,
always gets tougher
yeah.
and tougher and tougher, because also, like, a lot of years ago, if you wanted, like, if you were an artist and someone wanted something in their living room, they could ask you to do a painting. And then internet got here, and then we got printers, and they could say, you know what, I'm not going to ask them. I'm going to print what I like. I'm going to print this Velázquez, and I'm going to hang it because I can. So it's always been tough and tough, and like tougher and tougher. So, yeah, as you were saying, it's not something that's easy.
Never been easy.
And it's not like everything was like flowers and butterflies before AI. And now it's like, oh my God, where's all that magic that was here before?
Oh, art world has been complicated. Art world is
Exactly.
complicated. I I paint because that's the only thing I've done, in my whole life. And I don't think there's been a moment in my life that I've heard people not question painting. Like, why are you painting? Like, why are you painting right now?
Mm.
I don't think I've ever been through a moment in my life. It's like, are you guys painting? Or like, for example, I was educated painting from life. It's like, oh, you paint from life? Like, hello, dinosaur. It's like, that's always been, there's always been a sense of resistance to like painting in particular. Like that's the only place where I can speak from. But so I don't know. It's like it's never been. I don't know. It's just that it's never been easy. But you always find a way, because guess what? Like I think human beings excel when they are like when they're pushed, when they have to say like, you know what? People don't think that this is valuable. Like I'm gonna like push the shit out of this to not to show them that it's valuable, but to prove to myself that this urge that I have to do something that everyone is telling me that I shouldn't do, that I just have to answer to that. I just have
Mm.
to learn. I just have to know why I want to do this. I just have to. I have to uncover the reason of why I'm pushing to do this. And I think that that's amazing. That's how great art is born, from people just saying, you know what, everyone was going that way because that's where I guess everyone is heading. I'm going to go slightly off to this like weird little path because something is drawing me there, and I just have to answer to that call. I have to. And, maybe it means that you have to go to your parents' house and stay there for 6 years while you do your project. And people are going to think you're nuts, and people are going to think you're crazy. And meanwhile, you're just stuck in a basement doing like a 7-minute animated short of stop motion, like stop motion animated short. And then when you come out with it, you're like, people are, going nuts. You're like, how the hell did you do this? Like, and you did it because it didn't make sense. That's the reason why you did it, because it just made sense for nobody else but you. And
Mm.
you blow people's minds. Like, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Robin Sita West 13 was
Mm-hmm.
saying, Nico, you made a comment last week about creating perhaps being a means to carve out one's humanity. That's that might be the only point. Did I get that right? It's stuck in my head.
Yeah, I think so. I think that if we, I mean, this is like a dark but kind of plausible future where if what we do can be replaced, can be done by someone, something else. Like if we, because we are facing, like, I know that right now people are centered, because it's far easier to deal with, like centered on the very, the very basic business models in which AI is being constructed upon. And it's very easy to attack those things because those can fall onto like legal matters. It's like, hey, you are accessing information for your data sets illegally. Fine. If that's illegal, that's such a simple conversation to have. It's like, dude, that's illegal. So stop it. And then the law comes down on them, and they stop it. And that's fine. They have to pay some money, or maybe that company just completely crushes and disappears, and then other companies with with more fair models start to grow. But you know, potentially, we can imagine, we wouldn't be far from imagining a future where the things that I'm doing right now, something else can, like something can do it, or some or this thing that we created can do it, and it can be more. It could be faster. It could be more efficient at doing it than I could ever be, that I could ever imagine being. So parallel to that, there could be like this um, depreciation of image making, of having the ability to visually construct something. And what I was saying, and I mean, I don't know if we'll ever get there, but it would be like a very, very dystopic, very it sounds very apocalyptic future version of this future. But if we get there, we're facing like not the extinction of image making, but but thinking that what gave us value was the fact that we could make these sort of things. And and if we face that, the answers to why these things are valuable are not in the object itself. They can't be, because if the object can be easily replicated, then they were never in the object itself. It just took us time to understand that they were never there. But that also means that this new road, this new, you know, avenue opens up before our eyes, where we have to say, then why were these things important? Why did we draw in caves, and why did we want to make, buildings, like put rocks together so that, we could make these, beautiful buildings? Um, why did we do that? Why did we do those things? And perhaps one of the answers that we can, or one of the reasons that can start to grow from that questioning, that new line of questioning, which is completely new to us, which would be completely new to us. It's the fact that maybe you paint, but the painting doesn't matter. Maybe you could just say, I'm going to go paint. And you just go paint because you feel better. And maybe other people say, I'm going to go take a jog for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go run for like an hour. And people could say, I'm going to do Pilates for like an hour. And other people are, they're going to say, I'm going to, breathe in front of like a sunset for an hour. And you could say, I'm going to paint for an hour. And maybe that's all you need. And maybe you paint, and maybe that this thing sort of degrades in front of you. And then tomorrow you just tell yourself, great, I want to do that again tomorrow, because I came here feeling like shit about something, or I came here with a weight on my shoulders. of something, and then I paint it for 2, 3, 4 hours, and it's gone. And I feel better, and I feel liberated, and I feel, I don't know, wiser, and I feel more open. And then you do it, and then you say, I want to go and do it again. And then maybe we just, painting just becomes like the way we would teach ourselves to just take care of ourselves. Maybe it becomes more and more important for us to be in touch with our humanity, while there's these other things that are indirectly challenging our humanity. And maybe painting becomes a way to say, hey, this is a moment for you, a time for you, and it could be a beautiful thing. And we would have to grow out of this idea that no, because then we wouldn't be able to make more Berninis, or we wouldn't be able to make more Michelangelos, or and then but we would also have to be like okay with that and say, well, we had to go through that to get us to this point, where then now we have to understand that what was great about that wasn't the fact that we could make these floor to ceiling paintings that are magnificent, but just the fact that we let ourselves sit here and paint for like a little bit can be healing, or can be like a teaching experience. Maybe, because we are very quick to think that because this can be taken away from us, then there's nothing left. Then there's nothing. And I would say, how could we ever think that there's nothing? Like, we can't betray our history that quickly to think that there's nothing. Like that would be this, like, deciding to be blind to everything that has come parallel with painting, like all the reflections that have come, through art, that have like, sprung from any artistic endeavor. Why would we ever like say, oh yeah, those things were separate, like those things were different? No, those things were born from all these acts of painting and sculpting and building and modeling. So I don't know, maybe that's what's going to be left, which is going to be super interesting too. I think we have to be willing to imagine a future like that. I don't think this is something that we have to say, no, we have to offer resistance. Like, we oppose, like, we are beings that cherish images. We idolize images. Let's fight for that. It's like, no, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe that's not who, like, maybe it took us, like, I don't know, 200,000 years to realize, oh shit, maybe we're not. And maybe 200,000 years in the future, we look back and we're like, do you remember that time when we thought that making things was important? Like making the act of making something? Maybe, I don't know. Like, nobody knows. But when trying to visualize the future, I think that's a very nice way of saying, hey, this always had value, and the value that it has doesn't need to disappear. It doesn't need to go away. That's how I think about it. But I don't know. Some people, if I say those things, some people are like, oh, okay, dude. Oh, okay.
But again, I think that's
Go
going
do your
to happen.
yoga painting somewhere else.
I think that's something that's going to happen. And as I was saying, the last session we were live, I think there's, like, this is a very touchy subject for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So they are very full of anger when they feel like they're being contradicted. So I think that there's a lot of people that would just like scream back at you when you say that.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Even like the video that we did with Steven.
Oh, people are rude.
Yeah.
They just like to be rude.
But I was reading the comments.
No, me too.
It was really funny because I know I talk a lot. Like, anyone that has ever had me as their teacher, instructor, friend, partner with Danny.
Well, I
talk a lot.
400 videos
of me
with you talking 20 minutes every single day.
Yeah, like an idiot.
And they were saying that your questions were long, and I was like,
yeah.
What?
First of all, for those people that are very kind, the title of the video is AI
interview.
Debate.
Yeah, it's not like...
I wasn't interviewing anyone, and every time, and this is not like an ego thing, but I think It's far more interesting to have a conversation with somebody,
Mm.
to have like an exchange with somebody. When you have an exchange with somebody, it means that two people have the ability to talk. Interviews, like interviews, I understand when you have somebody that's like, oh my God, nobody, I want to give this person a chance to, like, hey, you can open up, like Lex Friedman did with like Kanye. Open up, dude. Like, say what you want to say. Like, you feel like you haven't had like a way to express yourself? Here it is. Go nuts, go crazy. Like, say what you want to say. But if you have, if you want to have like a contextual, like a conversation that can be contextualized, where you can understand where one person comes from and then where the other person comes from. And we had the opportunity to have, you know, Steven did a video that is like, I don't know, 30 minutes long, that you can listen to and you can say, okay, I know what you're trying to say. That's great. But, you know, in the same way, I was trying to say the things that I believe in. And so it wasn't my job as an interviewer, which I'm pretty sure I suck at it, because I have to learn how to not interrupt. And I know I talk a lot. So I know that I would be a shitty interviewer. But I know that when I talk with people, I can have super cool conversations, because I love to question and have conversations. Like Danny and I think part of the reason we are partners is because we have conversations all the time, and we
Mm.
just like push ourselves and question ourselves. And one of us says something and the other says like, really? Really? And we just start to push, push, push. But that keeps us talking and talking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. And that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
Mm.
So for the people that maybe were like, oh, dude, you talk so much. It's like, fuck yeah, I talk too much. But I want to, if I want to make my point clear and not be like a fucking Twitter, not fucking tweet like a question, I want to do it because my when I'm going to comment on something, when I'm going to ask something, it comes from somewhere, and I want you to know where it comes from. So it's not just about asking questions. Like, asking questions can be like the most boring ass job in the world. You just make a list of questions before the interview and just say, okay, thank you for being here. I just wanted to ask you, like, how did this all start for you? Who is who is Danny? Where did this all start? Like, oh my God, kill me. Like, okay. But I love to just see people like talking, and like one person saying something, and the other person saying like, well, have you ever thought about this angle? And then you get a back and forth.
Mm.
I think that's more
Yeah,
exciting.
and I also think that not only in this thing that happened with the debate with Steve, but I think that, I don't know, I just don't like when people, they disagree with what you're saying. So a way of them to saying that they are disagreeing is just like fixating in the way you talk, how much, how little, how loud, how low, how you look, how you don't look. Because I think that happens a lot. And it's like, hey, I mean, if you don't agree with this point, you can like voice it out and that's fine. But don't fixate in a ton of things that have nothing to do with the argument. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's like when people, they just want to make you not you, but like the other person feel that, like, I disagree with you and I want you to know that I'm not happy with what you're saying. But they can't just repeat it enough. So they start saying things they don't like about you as like as a subject and
Yeah,
not about
it's
the
a
conversation. I think that's, I don't know, I just, that's not the way I like to have discussions, because I think it's very interesting to listen to the other person's argument
you know what it
and
is?
not start saying, you know what? I mean, you like you have something in your teeth, so I have no idea what you were saying, because it's like, wait, what? I mean, don't even think of how I look, how much I talk, how less, like how little I talk. Just concentrate on what I'm saying, because that's what the debate is about. I don't know. I really, really don't like when people do that, because
But
I feel it's,
don't you feel that that's like any social media has done that to us, like indirectly?
yeah,
Like
yeah, and
everyone now thinks that that's the way in which you engage in a conversation. And social media makes, because of engagement, because engagement rules everything. Um, it is like known that if you're pissed off about something, you're gonna feel the need to argue or
And
comment.
to offend.
Yeah, and oh yeah, you could take it as far as you want, but so social media just feeds off of people being mad, and that has been going on for years. And I think that people are okay. Like we've become accustomed to just getting pissed off because we feel that that's like the fuel that all these conversations are like or need to be like jump started.
Hmm.
So it's very sad, but that's that that is that is who we are right now, which is crazy. But I much rather deal with like from the beginning when we were doing the conversations with artists, like we talked with Danny and we were like, I mean, if other people want to do interviews, fine, that's great. Like I feel like I'm at school, back at school, if I just do an interview. But I would love to feel
Like you can talk
like
with.
you're at a bar. Like if I was with a friend and I
Yeah.
sat down at a bar and we had a couple of, beers and we first started talking like, "Hey, how's your job? Or what, like how's everything going?" And then you eventually like, you're having a conversation that's about 10 things at a time and you're laughing and you're questioning things and it takes you everywhere. Real conversations take you everywhere.
Hmm.
I was like, I remember telling Danny, I think that's cooler than that sense of having a conversation.
Because it's
It's
more
really
like
cool.
human. Because,
Yeah,
I mean, when you talk to someone else, it's not like question, answer, question, answer, question, answer.
yeah.
Of course not. I
Those are
mean,
so
that's
awkward.
not
Like
a
that's
conversation. That's like
no,
a questionary out loud. I don't know. I
yeah.
no.
Or it's almost like you're speed dating. It's like, hey, I'm here to like, I want to be efficient about this. I want to know if we are thinking the same thing, if we're in tune.
But
I
not
have a
even
couple of
because it's like,
questions for you. Everything depends on how you answer them super quickly. And it's like, whoa, what? No, what?
yeah.
No, no. I wanted to ask you about your breadsticks. Like, did you like your breadsticks?
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with having breadsticks? Did you get full with your breadsticks?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You
Yeah.
can just talk about anything. I don't know. So, but I mean, but that's why people that are far more knowledgeable than us always say, yeah, don't read the comments. Don't read the comments.
Banjiro Masati was saying Twitter was a mistake,
I
and
think.
Salmon Cutter was saying the internet was a mistake. Uh,
I would be willing to take like. I think there's a lot of things about the internet that are like, oh my god, like Pandora's box. We open this shit and it's like, woof. But I think there's been amazing, like
yeah,
the yeah,
100%.
the things that are amazing about the internet are Mike, like, have we done anything better? Like, have we, like, this generation or for the past, like, I don't know, you know, 3, 4 decades, have we done anything better? I think this is amazing.
Yeah,
It's this incredible. The,
yeah.
the places that information has been able to travel.
The speed of
Yeah. The people
the
that have been
information
able to find
traveling.
education through
Yes.
internet. It's remarkable. Like
Yeah.
the goodness that it has provided is the connection, like connecting people. That like there are horrible sides to the internet. I think that when you put it in a balance, like you could make an argument to say that the good really, I don't know if it outweighs the bad, but it makes you feel that you need to be like that this wasn't a bad choice because we need to push for those things that are good.
Hmm.
Like it's like, hey, for everything that's horrible, look at these amazing things that are only possible because we did this.
Hmm.
And that's enough. That's more than enough proof that like that's all that we need to say, yep, this was worth it. Like this is a mess and we have to deal with it, but it was worth it.
Robert F. was saying the internet is the proverbial double edged sword.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so.
Kevin A.K. was saying, thanks to the internet, we have OPL. That alone makes me glad that the internet exists. Ah, that's so nice. But, I mean, not because of OPL, but I'm saying, I mean, if it wasn't because of the internet, we wouldn't be able to talk to each other. I mean, people are in, like, all parts of the world here in the chat in the OPL community, and we wouldn't be able to access that if it wasn't for OPL.
Hey, I was part of a lame ass, this is like mid 2000s. I was part of a lame ass painting forum where people like fought and discussed things and said, stupid stuff. But underneath all that, there was also like amazing information there. And I loved it. I loved it. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that forum. Because I kept, going back to that forum for years. And it was like, yeah, this is a cool hangout place for like dorky ass, like stupid painters that worry about, things that nobody cares about in terms of like technical questions. And I loved it. I wouldn't change that for the world. And that was never possible. I was in a physical school, in probably one of the better schools, art schools in the world, I would say. And I was part of that, and I didn't get the answers that I got when, I started going into this forum and try and exchange information with people. Like I in that place that was like meant to be the place where you get everything that you need, I didn't get the answers to all the questions that I had, and I only started to get those answers when I started to meet people, through these forums.
Hmm.
So I'm sorry, but that's amazing. That is incredible. And this was like, 25 years ago, so 27 years ago. So
Steve Witt was saying, I left a lot of my work with my mom when she passed. I did it for her, not me. And Steve was saying, Nick, if no one would ever see your work, would you still draw? Asking myself a lot now since my family and friends have passed.
of course, there's no doubt that I would.
Oh, by the way, Steve, no, because it wasn't a question.
Oh,
They were
sorry.
like doing an affirmation.
Oh, okay.
Like, if no one would ever see your work, would you still draw? Asking myself a lot now since my family and friends have passed.
Mm,
So I was going to say, I'm sorry, Steve. Um, so sorry for your loss.
yeah.
And
Yes.
also, yeah, as we were saying, yes, because it's a need. And I think that there's times in your life that you realize that it's something you need. Because maybe you were used to showing it if you were studying at the university, let's say, and you were doing a work, and then you get out of university and you feel the urge to do it. There's people that maybe think, well, I don't have to show it. I don't have to, like, I don't have a final. I don't have to show it. Then I don't do it. And that people just quit what they were doing. But there's people that say, you know what, I feel the urge. And as you were saying, Steve, sometimes you don't have the people you usually showed what you were doing to, but you feel like you need to do it. Because as we were saying, and I think that we firmly believe in that, and it's that creating art is a need,
Yeah.
something you need to do. It doesn't matter if the thing of the island where you can create everything but just leave it behind happens, or if you were asked to have the opportunity to create but everything you paint with is invisible for the rest of the people. So would you still do it? 100%.
I have a belief. I think, Danny, could you look this up? The Henry Darger documentary. It was on YouTube for many years. I hope it still is.
How do I look for it?
So just Henry Darger, and it's gonna be like a pretty long video. That's an actual like documentary on him.
An hour and 20, maybe?
Maybe.
It's Henry Darger documentary.
Maybe. Can you show me the cover?
Let's see, because
Or if you can go to YouTube and search for it there.
this one?
I don't know if that one's it.
Uh,
But I mean, any Henry Darger documentary would do. But Henry Darger, just Henry Darger, I'd say. I don't know why I feel it was a little bit.
this one?
But that's the one you showed me.
Yeah, this one's 21 minutes.
No. Maybe it's that one. Maybe it is that first one. I don't know why when I saved it, it was maybe a little bit
Maybe.
the cover.
Let
was
me
a little
just
bit
like
different.
scroll,
Scrub.
scrub through
Yeah,
it.
maybe. I don't know if it's that one. But
But
anyways,
maybe, yeah.
if you don't know who Henry Darger is, like I won't spoil it, but go look at a documentary on his life, and um, he is what we call like an outsider artist or a folk artist. And I think I think that when we are conscious about their when we get to know what their lives were about, these people that, you know, at all costs, like they wanted to tell their stories. Like it doesn't matter what they had to do, but they were obsessed about telling their stories, whatever stories they were. Like and Henry Darger, it's like this Vivian girl universe. But um, when you realize that, like, these are human beings so enthralled, so invested in telling these stories, I think that we have more in common with those artists. Like we human beings have more in common with those artists that we tend to think that they are outsiders than Damien Hirst, for example, like Jeff Koons. Like when I look at Jeff Koons, it's like nothing in your life looks like mine. Nothing. Nothing. No, like the things that push you to make artwork are in no way like things that I can share or understand.
Or
Or
that
when you
push you,
make,
yeah,
yeah,
that
or when you make something, it's like this is so out of like my basic needs of making stuff that I just don't understand it. I have no like sense of familiarity with what you're doing. Damon Hirst, same thing. Same thing. It's like, dude, he tries to be like a common man, and it's like, oh, common people don't sell, diamond encrusted skulls for, hundreds millions of dollars. Like, no, that's not common people. The common artists don't do that. Common artists don't put sharks in like, formaldehyde tanks. Um, so I do think that these artists that we have, for so long considered to be very weird and estranged from what the real art world is, those are the ones that show us the way.
mm,
Those are the ones that remind us, hey, this is why we do things. You guys made it all complicated and fucked up. But this is why we do things. It's James Castle saying, I want to do a chicken. I want to do a duck. What do I have? Like a piece of cardboard that comes from like cereal box. Let me use that and a bunch of string. And look, I did a duck because I see ducks in my farm, or I see chicken. It's like, look at that amazing duck. It's like this very simple primal thing that it's like, I want to say that thing that I'm seeing. Um, what tools do I have in front of me? Let me use them in
mm.
ways that I don't understand, but I'll get to know them as I make things.
Yeah, and not even like I want to say, as in saying to someone else,
Oh
like someone
no.
needing to receive that,
Yeah,
but
no.
I want to see myself saying that. Like
Yeah.
I just want to do it, period.
One of the most I often say this about Castle, but um, one of the most fascinating things about James
The
Castle,
walls.
yeah, he would make shows. He was not at all, educated or literate about the art world. Like he couldn't. There wasn't a human being that could be farther from what the art world meant at that moment or means right now. But he would organize like exhibitions of his work. He would hang his work as if it was an exhibition. But he never went to a museum. He couldn't read. He didn't know what a show was, like how you would exhibit artwork. Nothing. Nothing. He was, what you would consider like on the spectrum, like autistic, and with a ton of like developmental like challenges. Um and there was this need for him to like place his things in, organize his work and then show it to people that way. And there are drawings that he would do of his drawings, like hanging also.
Hmm.
Why? Why? Like, where does that come from?
Yeah, like how would you justify that if you don't think that drawing and painting and art is a primal
Yeah,
need?
if you think like, oh no, that's just galleries. That's just the way in which we have been almost like indoctrinated into believing that art is socialized. It's like, of course, no, galleries look like that, museums look like that. Um, that's just how art is displayed. What do you mean? It's like, what do you mean? Why would we ever question why art is displayed like that? It's just, it's a flat thing. There's a wall. You just hang it. And yeah, but imagine somebody having no knowledge of this. None, zero. So much that you can prove it's zero. There's no education at all. He would copy letters they couldn't read. He would just copy the drawing of letters. You know, some of the most fascinating drawings of James Castle are that of like letters, and because he was just like loving the shapes of these letters, but he didn't understand what a letter was. So how do you explain that? Like, I'm sorry, but they seem to be easy questions, and they're not. They're like incredibly complex questions because you realize why did you decide to do it like this? And you're probably dealing with somebody that couldn't explain themselves. They couldn't tell you why they were exhibiting them like that. But the question still remains to be true. It's like, why, like, where did you get this from?
Yeah, like how did we get to the same point?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
why did you draw? Why you draw? And you know, this has now been run to the ground, unfortunately. But it's one of the beautiful things about James Castle, because if you don't have tools, you he didn't have tools, but he used soot, you know, from you know, kitchen, from the stove, from the chimney, from whatever. He used soot and spit. And I'm sorry, I like, again, this has been sort of run to the ground because a lot of people hang on to this, but it doesn't, like, the fact that it's just been, you know, talked about too much, and it's become kind of like the, you know, one of those things that you highlight when you talk about James Castle. It also means that, like, you know, there was this force pushing this human being so much that, again, no education. So you can't tell him like, oh no, you need a bar of like charcoal. Yeah, you just need a stick of charcoal. No, it's like this again, this necessity to say, where in my world, in my small world, where can I find something that lets me draw, that lets me do mark making? And he found soot, and he used soot. And when he wanted to, you know, make washes, he would use spit. Like, again, this from somebody who's never thought of like a wash. You know, it's not like, oh yeah, he was enamored by Rococo washes. Like, well, fuck, like, what are you talking about? No, like, there was no education of what is a wash. Like, how does that happen? Like, how can we not be fascinated by those things? Just like whenever I like, you know, whenever I'm doing stuff, when I get like, when I'm thinking like, oh fuck, like I missed my like I lost my drawing, and I'm thinking it's like the end of the world because I fucked up my drawing, and I'm like, you know, I don't know how to draw. This is difficult. This is weird. You know, art is so hard. It's so weird. And I think that those are the hard questions to answer. I always go back to like, why Henry Darger? Like, what is pushing this man to create this whole universe that nobody, that maybe not a single person was ever gonna see? Like, when he was alive, he never for a second thought that anyone was gonna you know, was gonna be the audience. Like, the only audience for what he was doing was himself. The only audience. Nobody taught him how to draw. Nobody taught him anything. You know, he was a janitor. So why Henry Darger? Why James Castle? And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, they're just, you know, their brains were wired weird. It's just, you know, they're in the spectrum. They're autistic. So I'm sorry, you know, there's like, yeah, they're just not like us. I'm sorry,
There's
but they're
dumb
just not
people
like us. Yeah,
that
they're
say
dumber.
that, yeah.
They're dumber.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. No.
No,
I'm
but
saying that there's dumb people that say
oh
that.
no, but no, and I'm sorry if I misinterpreted that. But there's people that believe like, oh, these are like dumb people that can make art. I'm sorry to say like that, but What? Why do you think we still use terms like outsider art,
Yeah,
folk art?
which is
I'm
terrible.
sorry, primitive art. It's called. I'm sorry, but this is just us saying like, yeah, you're not like us. You are so not like us. When in fact it's like us. It's like, do I want to be like Hearst? I don't. I don't think I want to be like Damien Hirst. I really don't. I can find answers in James Castle or like super cool questions. I can't. I can't find anything in Hearst. Because the only thing that I get from Hearst is like, I'm doing this because I'm going to make money. It's the only thing. The only thing I know to be true about Damien Hirst, and I don't think he would offer like opposition when saying this. Only thing that drives him, the only thing that drove Jeff Koons was money. Money. The only thing that drives a lot of contemporary artists is money. Or maybe it wasn't so, but then eventually, you get swallowed up by big machinery that is the art world, the art market. Oh, your push is money. Your push is maintaining that art market. So, I don't know. Whenever I'm like a little down, I'm like, no, let's revisit this because this is better. This is cooler. These questions are way harder to answer than those stupid ones of somebody who said, hey, I found a way how to be a billionaire. It's like, great, great, awesome. Yeah, it's just what the world needed. Another billionaire. Like, great, awesome. I don't know.
Let's see. Mm, so Steve Witt was saying, love your answer. And they were also saying, but I guess we as artists still want people to see our paintings and story.
Watch that Henry Darger documentary.
And they were saying, I'm old school.
Yeah,
Wouldn't know you two otherwise. I love the internet. That's
that's
so
awesome.
nice,
Yeah,
Steve.
but Steve, watch Henry Darger. Maybe you've known or heard about him, but it's amazing if you haven't. And watch that documentary. I don't know why I don't think that was the documentary that I had it saved
Well, but I
in my
think
old computer.
that's the only
Ah,
one
yeah, it used to be.
that's like
It used
of
to
a
be there.
longer format.
Yeah, yeah, it used to be there. I think it was a little bit longer even.
Mm, dice Banjiro Masati, ¿qué carajos es un outsider art?
Feo, ¿no?
Sí,
Mm.
sí, 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 qué manera tan...
Sí, em, todavía mantenemos como esos términos, que es
Mm,
como muy curioso. He visto que priorizan más como folk, pero outsider art es súper como en enseñanza de arte y en la manera como, digamos, las instituciones lo entienden. Esa es una categoría,
mm.
100%.
Sí, 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 acá dice outsider or naive
Sí.
art.
Well, Naive was very Dubuffet times.
Hmm.
Um,
Let's see. Rosalind Dion was saying the walls in his home made me teary eyed when they peeled the layers and discovered his constant work.
yeah.
Amazing. I love Castle.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
saw that the documentary too. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing. He would hide things in his wall inside the walls.
Yeah.
He would hide things. They were stripping out the walls and they made like in his house in the James Castle house. They made some really cool decisions to leave a lot of like they were like, do you remember Danny? They were like layers and
Yeah,
layers
yeah.
and layers of like of wallpaper just for no reason. Like there's no real reason why you would just layer so much stuff. But they found this like rolled up like a bunch of drawings that it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah,
like
it's
where does
amazing.
that
And it's
sense of like making like things that are important to you, like and wanting to like protect them or treasure it, like I don't know. It's amazing.
but it's also it's beautiful because it's like because you were saying hiding and we can't even say it's hiding because there's no notion of hiding. I mean, we don't
Oh,
know what they wanted to
Oh
do
yeah, we
by
have no.
putting it
Yeah, right.
there.
We have no idea.
No, but there was a lot of people that were saying like, "Oh, they were hiding a treasure," and it's like, well, maybe, but I mean, you can't say
No,
it
no,
as a
no. And I
fact
guess that's
because
the
you can't know.
it's the price that we have to pay for having these incredible, you know, um thinking brains, but that they can't communicate with us. They just can't.
Roslyn said, "I went to his home in
Boise, yeah.
Boise. I highly recommend going
Oh,
there. Oh,
we
I
have to
would
take
love
that
to.
trip. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mm, Ricardito nos estaba saludando.
Ricardito.
Dice, sé que vengo tarde, pero quería decirles hola y espero que estén bien, chicos.
No,
Hola,
Ricardito
Ricardito,
nunca
todo
está
muy
tarde.
bien. Let's see. Carla Anglada was saying, Steve Witt, I'm sorry about your loss too. My papa passed away, and I'm painting him from a photo when he was in his sick bed. I'm
Tough.
kind of obsessed now, but maybe it's a healing thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, very sorry for your loss,
Of course, yes.
Carla. Mm, let's see, where was I? Steve was also asking before. I started painting because I got tired of being beat up in team sports. I either win or lose on my own.
There
Can
we
you talk
go.
on that, Nick?
Um yeah, I mean it's for sure a time that we have, with ourselves, and that, we don't come from a vacuum, so there is this universe of artists that came before us that have paved the way, and the way in which we think about things, and the way in which we resolve things. Like, we only are because of them. So if you want to think about it, it's like the biggest team sport that we could be part of. But what's very true is that you're, like most things in life, when they're kind of cool and healthy, you're not there's not a weird sense of competition to this, even though the art world can make you believe that there is, like, cutthroat competition. No, this is about you. This is about your path. This, like, ultimately, it's always going to be about you and your path, and the things that you learn, and the things that are difficult for you. But yeah, I usually tend to, in the art world, like, I love competitive stuff. Like, I love sports, so I think that those things have a place in, us as human beings. There is a primal need for us to understand who of us is the fastest, or who of us is the strongest, or who of us can do this feat the quickest, or whatever. I think that there's a place for that also in us as humanity. But I think in terms of the art world, I never react to unhealthy competition favorably. I always feel like it's like, oh, this school. It's like, oh, this school is like super competitive. I'm like, yeah, check, please. And that's kind of boring. I think my school was full of crazy, crazy talented people, and I never for a second felt that I was competing with Esau Andrews. Never. Or with Jules, or with Kenichi, or with Dice. Like, I never ever ever felt that I just had to be better than them. Never. They were just my friends. Like, we were going through this together, and when they pushed, I understood that, oh crap, they're pushing in ways that I don't know how to push, and I'm going to learn from that.
Hmm.
But
But you're gonna apply it to you,
yeah.
and they are learning in their own road. Because I think it's very cool. Because it is about losing. It's not about losing against someone else, but losing or winning to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like it's reflected in your own journey, and you're just like having a competition with your own abilities towards yourself, your strengths, your shortcomings. Everything would be something that makes you win or lose, but in your own journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'm super. I mean, it's annoying, but I'm the sort of person that says that there's, and not because I'm afraid of losing. Like I said, I love competitive stuff. I think understanding loss is also a huge part of being human beings. So this is not about, sheltering ourselves from understanding loss or the feeling of loss, or no, no, no. But I'm saying that a loss won't feel like a loss in art if you can learn from it. Like, if you can take your time, and you have to give it time to learn from why you think you failed in some doing something, then that loss just became an incredibly powerful tool. So I firmly believe that. Firmly believe that.
Mm, Samuel Coomer was saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe you mentioned Esau Andrews. He was one of the first artists I remember. I think, holy shit, I want to paint like that when I was a kid."
Oh, Esau, we used to take Sam Martin's class um, with Esau. It was a drawing class. And there were many classes I remember that I would sit right next to Esau. And oh, dude, Esau could draw like circles around me. But I also understood that we were both like, he saw something in my drawing that it was like also cool. I mean, to me, he's a far, far, far better artist than I could ever be. He's just like a genius. Um, but I just remember so fondly, like sitting right next to him and saying, like, "Okay, we're gonna draw." So, and whatever is difficult for me, whatever I thought I was lacking, or whenever I thought I was pushing, but it wasn't far enough, I could just look at Esau's drawing and be like, "Shit!" Like, look how much he pushes. Like, look what he's doing, and it was incredible. Like, that's a blessing. It's having those people in your life is such a blessing. But yeah, he was remarkable. Still is. He's amazing.
And Samuel was also saying, question. Sorry if it's a bit off topic.
No?
Did you guys work full or part time jobs in school? What kind of jobs are out there that let you juggle art school as well? So yeah, we both did.
Yeah.
Um so maybe you want to start?
Yeah, so like catering jobs, or like I was cleaning tables at night at like bars. Um had a small stint at doing some waitressing jobs. Um, I worked at anything that was like, hey, I could show up in the afternoon and sell some books or sell some fruit or sell some, anything. They were all part time jobs. I started working end of my junior year. I feel I started going, not every day, but I was going to a mural painting studio that other people from school were going to. I remember. I got to know this place because there were other, older art students that would go to this mural painting studio that was called Evergreen. And I started working there from, I remember, end of junior year to my senior year, and then I graduated and I started working at an illustration studio. So for me, it was a mix of like jobs that are just like life jobs. You know how people say, "Oh, for the summer, I'm just gonna bag some groceries," and it's like, sure, great, like that's awesome. Or I'm gonna work at the record store, or I'm gonna work at, I don't know, the bookstore, or the art store, or all those places. Like almost every single person that you meet at an art store is an artist or an art student. Like it's full of artists, like art stores. So yeah, I don't know, to me that's so normal, and so like, yeah, it's a job and that's it, and you just need some money to get by, and yeah.
Yeah, and they were also asking what kind of jobs out there let you juggle art school as well.
Yeah, I think you have to determine that for yourself, because
Yeah.
you have to make you can't miss your class to go and get a job. Like, the idea was to always have, for example, my idea was to always have money for food, but art books and art materials and like things that would enable me to keep painting. Like, that's what fueled me wanting to go get a job. Um, and I always thought, well, there are better opportunities later on to get like better jobs, I'm sure. But it was always about, I just want to keep doing this. I just don't want to think, oh shit, I need a tube of paint and I can't buy it. And so I think that's what fueled me. It was always like I'm never going to sacrifice my class just to get a job, because then it's like, oh, I'm getting an education, but in order to pay for that education, or in order to pay for what that education is asking of me, I need a job. But the job is making me forget about my education. So what is the point there then?
Yeah,
No, no,
but I
no.
would say that juggling, even the jobs you said, like part-time jobs,
Yeah.
it's complicated. Like you have to organize yourself
Yes, very much.
because you can like be a mess
Oh
if you
yeah.
don't like if you're not like very conscious about your times and the
Yeah.
times you have to put into your art studies.
Yeah.
So yeah, and in my case, yep, I worked too. I worked since I was a year and a half into my 5 year art school program.
I would have loved if you just said, I worked since I was a year and a half at the baby bar.
Yeah. I was
Mimosas, little mimosas.
I was ay, se me olvidó cómo se dice
Waitress.
mesera. Waitress,
Yep.
yeah, in a rock bar.
Yeah, good bar.
Yeah. And so when I was working there, I was working Friday and Saturday, sometimes Thursday too. Many times Thursdays too. It was from, let's see, like 3 p.m. to 3 a.m., but actually you would get home by 6 a.m. So let's say 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Uh, and after that, I was
I think you said 3 p.m., but more like 6 p.m.
6 a.m. No. From 7 p.m.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
3 a.m.
There we go. Yeah.
or 7 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah. I just know this because I
Uh,
like.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said 3 p.m.?
Yeah. That's a
No,
very
3 a.m. No,
happy
that's
hour
like
bar.
no. No, and that's like no sleep.
Yeah.
And after that, I was a bartender also in some bars. And it was also Friday and Saturday. But the reason I say that you have to like be very conscious about the times you work in is because you could say, oh no, it's Friday and Saturday uh, at night, so I can do it. But you have to also think about the time that you have, like your commute to the place. So you have
Yeah.
to count with that. You also have to count with the fact that maybe you're gonna get super tired, so you're gonna sleep a little bit more into the day, into the next day, so
Mhm.
you don't have that amount of time to study or to paint or to draw or to do whatever you have to do for your art school. So I think you have to be very, I don't know,
Disciplined with that
yeah,
too.
like organized
Yeah.
with it. And it's tiring sometimes.
Yeah.
It was
Very
for
much.
me, yeah. Mm, Steve Weed was saying, I worked at a frame shop in high school.
Awesome.
Perfect job for a painter.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Steven, did you learn to do your own frames?
I suck at it. I love if you. I have no
Yeah.
idea. Every time I try to cut wood, I lose a finger.
Mm, Samuel Kummer was saying, true. I suffer from over planning and thinking and just trying to see what a normal week/day would be like. Haha. Um, Prince Barebones was saying, I work at an art store and we almost exclusively hire artists.
Yeah, of
Haha.
course. Yeah.
KKU was saying, hi, I'm from Taiwan.
Hey.
Hey, KKU, we're from Colombia, Bogota, Colombia.
Beauty pageant. Bogota, Colombia.
Mm, let's see. Joao Mateus da Silva was saying,
Okay.
hi, Nico and Danny.
Boa tarde.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel that at any moment I will completely forget how to paint and draw. And I also think a lot.
Do you think Fed is here? Maybe.
No, son las 5:15.
It's pretty early, but maybe she's here. So while Danny checks, you don't run so hard, Danny. Yeah, Feri's here. She got here super early. Yeah, she got here early. Um, we'll get to Joao's question. Uh, but Joao, I mean, I'm not anticipating your question, but I mean, look at all this redrawing. That I think, was originally here. Then I dropped it down. Then while I was painting, I dropped the nose. I dropped the mouth. Then everything became bigger. Like my eye sockets became bigger. The sense of the head, the sense of the features within the head just became a little too distorted. The proportions from those features to the top of the head became too distorted also. And now that I'm working, I'm noticing, hey, I don't have to, like, I thought I needed to sacrifice this like strand of hair up top, and I just didn't have the, like, you know, vision, clarity, discipline to realize, no, you can actually do this and it'll fit and it'll work and it'll be okay. You just need to be a little more disciplined. I've noticed a thing about me, and it's like that it's easier for me to realize that I'm making mistakes once I have something to compare it to. And I know that's kind of sounds stupid, or maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but if I make a head that's about that big, it's almost like there are people that are super disciplined and they know from the start that that's going to be too big of a head. Like, this little guy here is just going to be too big. And they, use a lot of devices to say, no, the head that I need to work on is this size. It's so, much smaller. I've noticed things about myself that I don't that I think they go beyond just being disciplined enough to be able to like block in something that gives you an educated, estimate as to where, what your proportions are going to be. I think I'm the sort of person that, hola mi Ferchucci, that has to go through this stage of saying like, oh shit, I made it too big, because this is the stage that is going to educate me as to how much bigger I made it. And I'm kind of dumb, so I have to go through this stage to get to this one. So in a very strange way, I have to err. I have to err, which is a beautiful word, and I hope we never lose, like, the notion of just making mistakes, or you know um stumbling along the way when we're trying to be effective. But I realized that I need to go through this to then educate myself as to how this is supposed to be done. If my path is here, instead of doing this, I go like this, and then I get there. I mean, this is like, this is the proof of how I needed to step away and I needed to say, why did I mess this up? Like, what's going on? And I just needed some separation to then say, okay, I get it. Like, I get where I failed with this. And that's cool. That's awesome. That's my way of saying, yeah, it's not a matter of forgetting how to do something. It's a matter of finding in that path something that can be like, hey, I can remind you. You may think that you lost something, but if you put something down that you think it's right, maybe I can be characterized as a mistake, but I can also be useful in showing you that I can help you find your way back again. And I think that's awesome.
So,
I was attempting to answer the question that I didn't know.
okay.
I didn't know what
So let
question
me
it
read
was.
it again.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but they were like super early here. Because Fer told me that there were a bunch of kids that were not
Oh, there we go.
in the
So,
bus.
yeah,
So,
there we go.
so
They
yeah,
left
yeah,
him
yeah.
at school.
Yeah, I went like running. I was like, "Oh, you're super early," and she was like, "Yeah, yeah." So yeah. Joe Mateus da Silva was saying, "Hi, Nico and Danny.
Boa tarde.
I have a question. Sometimes I feel that at any moment I will completely forget how to paint and draw. And I also think a lot that I have to know how to do everything. Does this happen to you or has happened to you? Do you have any clues as to why this happens? And what can I do to improve that feeling? Thank you and greetings from a happier Brazil.
But oh yeah, Lula,
Yeah. Yeah,
congratulations.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I was congratulating Brazilians on the first well, I don't know what to call it, the first round, the first
Primera vuelta.
yeah, we say yeah, la
Yeah, that's
primera
how we
vuelta.
call it here.
Primera volta. Volt. No, I don't know. But congratulations. Well deserved. When he won, I was like, yeah, no, there's no turning back. Like Bolsonaro doesn't have enough. It was very scary. It's still a very broken country because the world is broken. I think countries are now behaving like the world, in which half of the world think that they are right, and the other half thinks that they are right, and that's where we're at. Like that's it. Um, Hopefully, we'll realize that at some point, it's not about the people that think that they are right outnumber that the people that they think that they are right. It's that the people that think that they're right start talking to the people that they think that they are right. And you start letting the other person talk, even if it's the most painful thing you do, just listening to somebody, because you have to share a world with those people. You have to. Like, there's no way about it. Like, if not, you just believe in Thanos and you just believe in killing half of the humanity, like killing half of the world that is stupid and is wrong, whatever that means to you. If you don't believe in that, you need to talk to people. But congratulations, because Brazil had, let's just say that they could do better. So I think that this is another chance for Lula and another chance to hopefully bring Brazil back to better days, which I think you guys are going to enjoy better days.
So, do you remember the question? No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I think it's natural for us to feel and particularly for me, it happens. I don't know for you, Danny.
100%.
When we
Every
look
time
at
I sit
yeah,
down.
when we look at people that are very good, we're like, I don't know how to do that. I should know how to do that.
Or even when you look at your own work and you do something you really liked and you look back at it, and not back at it as in something you did 10 years ago, but it could be something you did yesterday. And you try to start something and you're like, I have no idea how I did this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just don't know. I can't do it again. So, yeah, it happens to me a lot.
Yeah, for me, it particularly happens with, like, let's say I'm painting and I'm telling myself, you know what? I want to be this Moiseyenko. This for like our Russian painting fans, which I'm an enormous Russian painting fan, and one of the painters that I've come to really respect and really like is Moiseyenko, and I always feel like I want to be like I want to paint like that. I want to paint like Moiseyenko. I want to be expressive but have like power and drawing to it and like the sense of immediacy, almost like Corneliu Baba. Also, if there's like Eastern Europeans there, so let's just say Moiseyenko meets Cornelius Baba. So, and I can be so convinced about those things that I think that I just know what I want. And suddenly I see something, let's say, done by Nick Alm. Let's just give that example. And when I see something by Nick Alm, I'm like, you lazy fuck. I'm talking to myself, not to Nick Alm. I'm like, you lazy fuck. You were just convincing yourself that you want to be expressive because you don't want to put in the hard work and you don't want to draw. And look how beautiful it is when somebody knows how to draw and knows how to paint properly. And you're a fucking hack and you just want to like be, hide behind just being fast and expressive. And you are so lame. And that's like absurd because a day before I was like, this is my path. This is the greatest thing ever. This is like, I see everything that is beautiful about this path.
And it's also not like you're seeing those other artists and thinking they're lazy.
No, never. You think they're geniuses, yeah.
Exactly. You just judge yourself.
Exactly.
You just say, no, they are amazing, but you were doing it because you are lazy.
Exactly.
So,
and it's crazy because I Whenever I see somebody, I'm like, that can do things that I just can't do, or that I can do, but they're doing it, 1,000 times better. I'm always like, oh, you are so lazy. Look how hard those people work, and you just don't work as hard as them. That's my brain goes there. But I think it's natural for us to yearn for things that we are not. And I think a lot of things about life, and not just about being an artist, but art helps us to deal with this, is to say you're not going to be great about everything. You're not going to be able to do everything in your life. Everything.
Mm.
It's like, I would be shocked if Lionel Messi was like an incredible painter.
Yeah.
Like, if that happened in the world, I would be like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like,
And,
this
and
guy.
and they sang like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sam Smith. I don't know,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. And they play chess. It's like, what the fuck? Like, how is this possible? How is this human being able to do so many great things at the same time? But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Sometimes you see somebody who's like a great actor, and it's like, hey, I paint. And they paint in a way that you imagine that they paint. It's like, oh, yeah.
Or they can be good painters.
They can be good.
Yeah.
They can be good. But I don't know. It doesn't happen often. I mean, they could be like David Lynch sort of thing. Like, his artwork is super cool. But it's not common that people can do so many great things at the same time, because to be really devoted to something means that you're putting most of your time towards that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, when other people were painting, Lionel Messi was just with a football, like kicking a football.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a thing. Like, somebody chose to draw and somebody chose to kick a football. And both those people chose to be great at, those very two different things. So I think that we rationally understand that. But like what Danny was saying, we can be so unfair with ourselves and so hard on ourselves that for some reason, what we can totally and rationally justify with
And
other
admire
artists.
in other artists.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because I think what you were saying was totally true, Danny. Like, when I look at Cornelio Baba or Moise Yenko,
Yeah.
I'm like, there's nothing there that I would say, oh, it's missing this. Oh, what a shame it's missing this. Or when I look at Olga Woznanska,
Mm-hmm.
when I look at Mela Muter, I never, ever, never get a sense of saying like, I wish they could,
Yeah,
if
this
they could
could be
have like a
this other
little bit
thing.
of this, a
Yeah.
little bit. With Camille Claudel, I'm never thinking like,
No.
you needed a little more like Michelangelo in there. Like, if only you had like the discipline of an early Michelangelo and you weren't like so loose and expressive. And it's like, no, everything is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Everything is absolutely perfect. But then when we judge ourselves, we're like knives out. Like, we are just gonna destroy ourselves. We're just gonna throw it in our face. Like, how many deficiencies we have, like how large our shortcomings are. We're gonna immediately suppose that everyone works harder than we do, that everyone is more devoted, that everyone has far more clarity, that even though we have found something special, that there are people out there that have found something that's even more special, which is nuts. It's crazy that we treat ourselves that way.
Yeah.
Crazy. Given how hard it is to find that thing that when you look at it, you go like, I am here, like body and soul. I'm just going to say, I love this. I'm going to fight for this. Like, I'm willing. For me, for example, Olga Woznanska, like, I die on that hill.
Oh,
I die on that hill.
I would like die smiling in that
Yeah,
hill
no,
too.
if it's like, if you want to come at Olga Woznanska, I'm like, dude, to the death. Like, I am not letting this argument go until it's like, I'm going to honor her legacy. I'm going to, like, I am here on this world to fight and to say that she's a genius. Like, I would never stand down from that fight. And the thing is, like, but if you look at Olga Woznanska from the shore of, like, Bugoro, yeah, no, of course not. Like, they're different. They're completely different artists. She could have never painted like Bugoro. Never made her like smaller or lesser. Never. Never. You
Yeah.
know? If anything, I'm the sort of person that loves the things that deviate from that norm. She very much understood what like a very uh French centric, Paris centric art looked like, and what it was about.
Hmm.
She understood that. She lived there. She studied there. But, she was something else. She was something completely different. And it's in that difference that I adore her. Same thing with Mela Mutter. Like, I adore her for how different she is and how bold she is. So, no, I think, it sounds like a simple answer, but I think it's when you start just saying, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy the fact that these people were alive. And the fact that this is such a beautiful place Earth is, and humanity is such an amazing, thing, that the things that we can't do, there's other human beings that can do those things wonderfully. Like, they can excel at those things. Like, if you want to see it from your shore, they are there in your life just to make you see the things that you can't do. Like, not everything revolves around you, but if you want to make it, if you want to see this from your shore, it's like these people are just there to show you every single thing that you can't do. And it's incredible. Like, the world is richer for it, and you are a better artist for it. So the moment where you realize, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this ride. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this ride. And you just lower your arms and offer less resistance. And you realize that you can't be 1,000 great artists in one body, because that doesn't exist and it has never existed. I mean, there are extraordinary people in the art world, sure. But for most of us, for the 99.99999% of us that are just regular hardworking artists and will be happy throughout our whole lives just being that, we just have to know that it's okay not to do 1,000 things, 1,000 great things at the same time. That you don't have to. You don't have to be a great draftsperson, a great painter, a great etcher, a great sculptor. You don't. You can do great animation. Like, dude, let the animators do the animation. Let the people like that their life revolves around animation be great animators. Don't feel like, oh shit, I saw them and they were doing this amazing animation. I should be doing animation. What am I doing with my life? I'm not doing anything. Fuck me. Look at me. I've been sketching for 2 years. What am I doing? Stupid. It's like, no, no, no.
Hmm.
No.
Also, I think that when, as we were saying at the beginning, when it's something that has to do with your own work, when you're not thinking about other artists but your own work, that happens too.
Yeah.
I mean, as we were saying, like when you do something that you really like, and then you look back and
Yeah.
you're afraid to feel that you're never going to be able to do something like that. I think that it happens because you're like in a constant learning path.
Mm.
When you draw, when you paint, when you create whatever that you want to do, and it is really hard always. Like, it's always hard. And I think that once you start doing it more and you start knowing your capacity, and then you improve, and then you know your good things, the things you have to improve in, and you like hit something you like, and I think that has happened to me, and I think it happens to a lot of people. You get this kind of imposter syndrome where you think that what you did is just like you attribute it to like a lucky strike. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know I did this. Like, I know I did this, but I can't do it again. It's like your brain tells you, oh, no, no, no. No, we're not doing that. No, no, no.
Yeah, we
No.
got lucky this time.
Yeah, we were super lucky,
We
but
fooled them.
today's the day they're gonna know that we're not good. So I do think that like imposter syndrome like crawls in your brain every time you want to start something, and not even when you do something cool and you look back, but when you had a terrible session
Yeah.
and you did something horrible, that crawls even harder in your brain. And
Okay,
it's
yeah, because
like,
now you have
you
proof.
see,
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, you see, you're terrible. This
yeah,
is who you are. You are just terrible. And I don't know. I just feel that that's something you have to um get like get used to, but like not getting used to, like you're gonna just like suffer and just like be afraid every time. But I think that when you do it constant, like if you're more constant with
yeah,
it, and you do it and you do it and you do it, you have all that these emotions in such a close time lapse, like time frame, that you start to normalize them, if that makes sense. So I think that's something, because they were also asking, Joao was also asking for something that could help in that case. And I think that in my own case, I've realized it is not having such a big gap of time between one session and the other, like doing something and doing the other thing. Because sometimes when you're afraid, you just like make that gap bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you're even more afraid because you haven't been able to like tackle the thing you want to do because you're afraid. So then you're just letting your fears win, and you don't do it and don't do it. And if you don't do it, you can't like your brain can't understand that it's something normal, that it's something that's gonna happen, and that it's something that if you do it like often enough, it's gonna be easier. And I say easier because I think it never goes away.
no, no, no. That feeling, no.
And sometimes you're like super cool for 2 months, and then you had that terrible session or that amazing session, and boom, like everything builds up again. So,
I've had weeks that I think like I'm finally getting this. Like I'm fucking kicking ass. Like I am here. Like, all my path, it brought me here. I've done like four really cool paintings that I can be really proud of in a row. I'm like, fuck yeah.
mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah. That is followed immediately by like eight paintings when I
Yeah.
struggle. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you fucking hack. It's like, you thought you figured it out. It's like, look, you are so far. You are
yeah.
so
And
goddamn
it's like your
far.
brain is tripping yourself because it's like,
Brain is tripping.
because, no, ¿cómo se dice entonces hacer zancadilla?
No, 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 you're good. You're good.
Like
Tripping over yourself.
tripping over
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like you actually did it and you were doing it, but then you're overthinking the fact that you're doing it, and then boom,
Oh,
you
I've had
are not
those.
able to do it again. That has even happened to me in the same painting. Like I've I have in my head, like I know exactly what gouache paintings I'm referring to, because that has happened, and with carvings and everything, that I'm like, yes, I had an amazing day yesterday. This was amazing and everything was flowing. So today we're just gonna like finish, like put the cherry on top and just like close it. Cause it's like, I don't know, it's like fireworks while you're doing something. And then you sit down to your second session, and it's like everything you do is worse.
Yeah.
It's making it worse than before. So yeah.
Fucking drawing and painting, man.
And sculpting.
Yeah, sculpting is easier.
Uh,
I'm
Because
kidding.
you
I'm
don't do it.
kidding.
That's
I'm kidding.
It's easy because you don't do it.
I'm
So
kidding. You sculpting hacks.
Joao was saying, but what happens is that it doesn't work out because I'm doing something for that reason. Oh wait, because they were saying in
Okay.
general, so they were saying, wow, exactly. In general, I think that if I'm doing a lot of portraits, I
Yeah.
won't be able to do a full body pose. So it looks like I have to go do that to prove to myself that I can. But what happens is that it doesn't work out because I'm doing something for that reason. I keep painting every day, and thank you for reading my question and keeping me company. Helped me a lot.
Yeah. In terms of subject matter, I would say like I feel the needs to shift things. In my case, it's like sometimes it's objects, or sometimes it's a space, or sometimes if I notice that I'm doing like too many heads, like I will do like heads and shoulders and hands, or I would do something with like a bigger figure or a figure in space. I think that if you look at our painted lives as a whole, it really is um, about dealing with that feeling and saying, okay, I'm stuck in this. Let me try to search somewhere else. Let me
Mm-hmm.
try what happens if I change this little bit, and what happens if I change this little bit, and this little bit, and there are I it's funny because it happens to me that, and a lot of people associate me with like portrait painting, and that is obviously a part of what I do. And if you look at like my Instagram page, it's like full of like representations of like people for sure. But when we were looking at our painted lives, like when we were trying to edit the book, like there's so much shit in like so much stuff that is not people, that was
Mm.
not just this head.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that we like, sure, are going to be portraits or, are going to be figures. But I also hoped that, I was so convinced about trying things out. And that's why we hopefully call, and people get it, we call our book Possibilities, because it is about saying, I think I'm good at this, but what happens if I go there? And it's not so much, Joao, it's not so much that you are forcing yourself to go there because you realize, oh, I'm so lazy. I'm just getting used to like doing the same hit over and over and over again. Like that's not that's beyond the point. That doesn't matter. You could paint yourself for the rest of your life and be an incredible artist
Mm.
if it makes sense to you. If there's a reason for you to paint yourself every single day. If you told me I got to paint myself every single day, I would get bored out of my mind after a week. So I know that I wouldn't be able to do that, even though it sounds like a hack, even though it sounds like, oh, you're just lazy and you're doing the same thing over and over again. If you make me do that, like I could only do that for a week. Like I can't stand it but as soon as you see that you can go somewhere else, not because you are trying to justify or validate yourself by doing something else, but because it's like, oh, let me see what I can learn when I try to do this other thing. If you view it like that, just like an opportunity to learn something that is going to make you obviously think differently from what you already know how to do, then if you let yourself do that time and time and time and time again, you're going to realize, oh no, I am way broader and bigger of a painter than I thought I was. But you know what? And this is the coolest part. And this is kind of what happens to me. Like, I think for our painted lives, we painted people, places, objects, people in places,
Animals.
abstract things, weird, yeah, animals, abstract things, comic book characters, characters from my imagination. Um, and even though like I touched base with so many things, I can say, you know what? I want to paint that portrait. And it doesn't feel weird and it doesn't feel like lazy or no, it's like no, it's just that I feel so at home doing this. I feel so like completely fulfilled doing this that it's okay. It's totally okay. But you have not, and it's not, again, it's not about proving yourself, you're proving something to yourself. No, no, no. But the fact that you have had the willingness to travel through all these roads and learn from them, then it just makes the other, when you go back to painting a self portrait or painting another person's portrait, if you go back to that, you can go back with such peace of mind that you say, I don't need to show people that I can paint an object. I know I can paint an object because I know myself as a painter. I know myself painter. Being a painter is so much broader than what you paint. Like what you paint can define things about what you're trying to communicate and what your stand is, when you're using that as your subject matter, for sure. And the choice of your subject matter is also something that can be very powerful. But we are painters beyond what we paint. If you told me right now, dude, there's a curse upon you. I'm sorry, but in order for you to keep painting, you can keep painting, but you can't paint people anymore. I'd be like, fuck that. We're gonna have a dog in December. I'm gonna paint the shit out of that dog, and I'm gonna feel fulfilled by painting that dog. If there wasn't a dog, you could tell me, like, no, you just have to go to your living room and paint, paint stuff that's in your living room. I would be like, are you kidding me? There's like 10 lifetimes of things to paint in my living room. Like, of course I could paint because I'm a painter. I'm not, you don't just paint heads. You love to paint heads. Fine. But you are so much more than that. But not because you need to prove to people that you're more than that, but because you need to understand that for yourself. For yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to be okay when you want to go to other places. You don't need to be forced to go to other places.
Yeah, but I think that sometimes, again, your brain tricks you. Because I think that sometimes your brain makes you feel like you're missing out in
Yeah.
something else.
FOMO.
Exactly. It's like it has FOMO because now you're doing a landscape. So why aren't you doing a portrait? And I think that while you're doing something, it is very important that you have your mind in what you're doing. Because if you're working in a landscape, but as like you're working in a landscape, but you're thinking about, I'm not doing a portrait, so I have to finish this super quick so I can go to the portrait.
Yeah.
And then you do a portrait and you're thinking, oh, but I haven't done an object, so I have to like rush this and go to the object that I have to paint. So then your brain thinks that you've tackled everything, every subject matter, but at the end, if you're jumping from like you're doing A thing but thinking about this B thing, you're doing everything by half. Like you're just absorbing half of the process because
Yeah.
you're not present. And I do think that that's also very important to be present with what you're doing. Because if you try to like juggle 80 things at the same time, I'm sure you're going to be able to do them like at their 10%
Yeah.
because you're not focusing in one thing. But if you are focusing in one thing and letting yourself absorb that process and absorb all the things you're struggling with, the things you're like that you tackled and you had no idea that you had the capacity to do it. Like if you really absorb that, then you're learning. But not if you're just like jumping all around.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, when I think of, we mentioned it the other week, Rob Pointon
Mm-hmm.
and like Peter Brown, for example,
Yeah.
Pete Street.
Amazing.
Yeah. They're both, I'm sorry, but they're both geniuses.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other word to describe, both of them. They're absolute geniuses of plein air painting. Like, geniuses.
Mm.
What Rob Point was doing for the past like year, I don't know if there's anyone that can paint that like that. I really don't. I struggle to find somebody else who could do what he was doing. I mean, what he is doing, this is like the highest praise that I could give somebody. But what he was doing to me is like Ramon Casas level of painting. Like it's that masterful. It's that good. It's that impressive. And I'm sorry if you are thinking in those terms, like Ramon Casas level of stuff. Like when I look at their work, I'm like, oh fuck, I should do more plein air. But guess what? I promise you that I could paint plein air for the next year exclusively, and I would get better. Guess what? I will never be as good as them. I will never ever be as good as them. It's just because they're special at doing that. They're so particularly good at doing that I sometimes feel that's kind of selfish. That we as individuals, we don't want anyone else to have something like over us. We're like, oh, you're good at that? I'm going to train on that. Like, you can't be good on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to show you that I'm great on this,
and
but I can be
better.
just as good as you are
Or
doing
better.
that if I have time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, settle down. It's like, you could also say, you know what? Give it to them because they're geniuses and just say, oh, dude, you are very good at what you do. Very, very good. And I'm grateful that I can see what you do because it's a blessing. It's incredible. You could just say that. And that's not being complacent and that's not being lazy. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm going to lose like nights of sleep because I'm thinking of how good they are. But I mean, but honestly, it's just like sometimes you just got to say, these people are amazing. I'm sorry, but these people are freaking geniuses, is what they do. And just give it to them. Give them that. They've earned the right for us to be, you know, observers in their world. We don't have to be like them. We don't always just have to do everything as
Mm-hmm.
good as the best people that do things.
Yeah, and also I think this goes hand in hand with what we were talking about, like when we were comparing, like how our brain compares sometimes different artists and how we feel that they are absolutely amazing and they don't need something else, something different. Like, for example, if you see a sculpture from Giacometti
Yeah.
and you say, yeah, but if you see it with a Bernini eye,
Oh yeah,
it's like completely different, but they
absurd.
are absolutely amazing artists, period. And they're just not lacking something else. And I think that that happens to us too, in not only the subject matter, but the way we approach the things we want to paint. Because that jumping around and that, like FOMO, as you were saying, it also talks about like being afraid of taking a decision, making a decision. And I think that, I mean, Pete Street is crazy talented.
Oh, insane.
He's just a crazy talented painter. Peter, I was gonna say
Yeah.
painter. Uh, so he's amazing. Period.
Yes.
But also, you could say he loves plein air painting, and he decided he loved plein air painting,
Yeah.
and that's also why it's so amazing.
Oh, his
Because
whole world revolves around doing that.
exactly, so for him, it is enough, and it's not like, oh yeah, well, it's good enough. No, it's like a whole universe for him, and he's just like this like bright star in that universe because he's absolutely amazing at what he does. So why can't we also do that to ourselves? Like think, okay, I'm going to make a decision. Even for this painting, I'm going to paint this subject matter and I'm going to stick to that decision and I'm going to learn from that decision because I also think that something that's amazing has to be charged with decision making.
Yes.
So, um, Carla Anglada was saying, be ourselves and follow what moves us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, Salmon Cutcher was saying, thank you all. Steve Witt was saying, well said, Danny. Thank you, Steve. Um, Carla Anglada was saying, I love that you and Danny push yourself and in that way inspire us to be more courageous. I think we all push each other
Oh
here,
yeah.
which is amazing. And we also push
We also push.
push each other's by having these conversations,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
by talking.
Yeah. And
Conversation.
it doesn't mean that we're gonna agree on things. Like also people have to understand this. Like Danny and I don't have to agree on everything.
Exactly.
Like we are willing to put some fights. Like
Yeah.
we are willing to have some cool conversations.
Well, because we're not just like one being
No,
with
no,
two
no.
bodies.
And we're
So we
learning from those
understand that.
conversations.
Exactly.
From those arguments. So that's awesome.
Tani was saying, hey guys, I came late, but happy I'm catching the last beats.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
because
Tani.
this one, this particular one has to these. If you guys have seen it, it has to dry. Like this, there's. I mean, I could paint over it, but if all these magenta marks are still fresh, what's gonna happen with paint is just that it lifts those drawing marks. So no, my hope is that they remain somewhat there so that we can make better judgment, like a better in the sense of more faithful judgment with what I wanted to do with the painting initially, not just better because it's drawn better, but better judgment in the subsequent paint layer. So that those things are always kind of interesting to me. So yeah, so I'm very excited because the changes helped. Like now I can see this. Like there were three eyes at some point there, and now I can see it and say, okay, I get you.
Mm-hmm.
I get what was going on. and I'm far more comfortable. I'm gonna be able to. You guys can't see it because it's very hard for me to paint it right now, and it's off camera. But I'm gonna be able to draw this arm a little bit better, and it's not gonna push so far down, which was, I mean, it wasn't bugging me because I love long arms. Like I think limbs are kind of meant to be elongated for some reason, but it's just kind of cool. Like I'm never gonna complain if an arm is like if a hand is too big or an arm is like a little too long. Like if I'm Eon fluxing this a little bit, if I'm Egon Shieling this a little bit, Ashley Wooding this a little bit, like I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm super cool with that. Like El Grecoing this, um, I'm totally fine. But I want it to happen because I want it to happen and not because it just happened. So yeah. So I think that it was nice to know that if I just took a second to check these dumb little proportion, to make these three little marks, just to know that, you know, um, what was this called again? Your claw mark? What was it?
Hair claw.
Hair
Claw
claw.
mark?
I don't know, whatever. Uh, so the tip of the hair claw to um the moment where your hairline starts is kind of like what if you take that length and you go down the axis. Um, it hits kind of like where the two brows would meet, like in the middle, which is very nice. And then that same space would be like right under the tip of that nose, and then down here, like I don't care anymore. Like that I'll figure it out because I'm fine with that. Um, but in terms of that, I think okay, now it's better. The hands, I'm fine if they feel a little like bigger or like stronger because if I have the opportunity to make like hands far more expressive, of course I'm going to take that opportunity. That's crazy that I don't. If I wouldn't, um, but there's some things. I mean, these things. Can we see these little things, Danny?
Yes.
Okay. So the fact that I was dropping down and elongating this so much and not bunching it up. You see how beautiful the break of the wrist is right
Mm-hmm.
here. Whenever there's a break and we have like and I mean this happens with the body, but it also happens with folds in clothing, for example, or in drapery. um, if we are pushing something, like something has to give at the other end, so it has to break. And I was like really dropping those breaks, which made the 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 break of the wrist here down here feel less relevant.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the weight of the head is not being supported by that break of that wrist, which it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
The angle of that head and the way it's like squished, the way this cheek is squished into the hand, makes sense if this breaks, because this is what's holding it. I mean, the elbow down there is holding it, but then the break of the wrist is holding all that weight. So all of those, this is as important as the angle of this hand and is as important of this. But this is like, I always speak about these things as like cause and effect. This is like cause and it has to have an effect. And it was these little like breaks where these folds were bunching up. If that doesn't happen, then that break doesn't have so much power. Then that break of the wrist doesn't have so much power. You know how I mean I like superhero stuff. So you know how if like Hulk is jumping and it lands, somewhere. Like if it lands and you just see him just landing on the street and then, keep running and then jumping off, you go like, "Oh yeah, it's Hulk. It's he's like running and jumping." But if he lands and he just crushes that street, like crushes it completely, like that, all that weight can't stand, like the street can't stand all that weight, and it just like crumbles underneath his feet. You go like, oh my God. Like I understand how much energy was in that jump and what happens when he hits this flat surface. So cause and effect. The effect is like so important. Like animators are geniuses at doing that. Absolute geniuses. By the way, Chainsaw Man. Oh my fucking God, that is so good.
Oh, I was gonna read that comment next
Oh,
because Mario
Danny.
Leon was saying Chainsaw Man.
Oh,
10 de 10.
oh my God! No, because I wrote to Mario
Oh yeah,
check it
because I
out.
was looking in
Oh,
like the
tomorrow's
comments
the fourth episode.
that I
Oh my God! And it's
haven't
full
seen.
anime. I mean, it makes it's. I'm sorry, like tangent, but it's full anime. So
But no spoilers.
I mean,
Don't spoil it
I
for
mean, this is
people.
like One Punch Man, to be honest.
But don't spoil it.
Well, you don't spoil One Punch Man. It's like the
You
first
do
thing you know
spoil
about One Punch
everything.
Man is that he kills everything with one punch. And you know what's amazing about it? That they can tell a story about somebody that's always going to win and it's always going to win with one punch. And you already know this. You already know this. So, Chainsaw Man, no, no, no. I'm just going to say it is an anime that you know, right from the start, you're like, okay, there's demons, there's, other demons, there's fine, like, there's sex, like, the drive for this dude is like grabbing boobs. And I know this sounds so like, okay, no, I don't want anything to do about this. Like, check, please. This is ridiculous. But no, it's anime. It's like, it's dumb and it's stupid. But in terms of animation, oh my God, Danny. Oh my God. When that character turns into Chainsaw Man, oh my God. It's like, fuck me. It's so good. It is so damn good. Ugh. I'm dying here. I'm dying how good it is. I have the first 3 episodes if you want, Danny. Although I'm pretty sure like the grabbing boobs part just totally made you, clock out. But
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying now,
no,
but
it's just like young person, it's never had a relationship and it's like a teenage boy and their drive is just boobs. I mean, it's a very real thing in the world for like young kids that like girls. I mean, that's fine. But no, but there's always sexuality in
no, no, no.
in
I'm not
anime
against.
for
Of
sure.
course, I'm not against sexuality, but like male-driven only sexuality.
I don't what we could have a conversation about this, but I don't know how that's wrong, how that's
No,
weird.
no, no, no. I mean, we could see it. Of course, we
Yeah.
could see
No,
it.
I didn't understand the male driven part of
No, no,
all
no.
that.
Because you're saying that what only makes him do things is to grab boobs.
Oh my yeah, but with Danny, I think if you got into the mind of a teenage boy, you would be shocked. I mean, sex is an instinctual drive
No, I know.
for a species, for any species, any. So I don't know. And this is just a very anime way of dealing with that for sure. But but in the animation, oh my God, the stories could be anything. It doesn't matter. The animation is just it's disgustingly good. I mean that character. Can you imagine like just having people know this already because this like trailer has been you know up for I don't know how many years, but can you imagine animating a fucking chainsaw coming out of your head and your arms? Like the
No,
blade of a chainsaw.
no.
Think of it like in space. That thing in space. It's like, Jesus Christ, that's like, how do you draw that? Ugh. Oh, it's so good. It is so damn good. Ugh. Anyways.
Roslyn was saying, so I see the Rome workshop and Menorca is available. Any other teaching events coming up?
Oh, no, not for me. No. I think we're these that's all there is until
Well,
next year
well,
where yeah,
we're
it's not
gonna
going to
have
be physical workshops,
we're
but
gonna have the online courses,
yeah,
which are
yeah.
gonna be
I love that you say curses because it's just
courses,
no, but it's
courses,
wonderful. Let's make it a curse. Let's make
courses,
people curse at me.
courses.
Um yeah,
It,
that's our plan for next year and I think it can be super cool to have like another dimension to us as this kind of nice OPL family that for the people that want more personalized like attention and structure that has to do with this is going to be like the courses that are offered everywhere. So it is going to be a probably like 9-10 week once a week because that's how you offer it, but it's going to be homework, it's going to be working alongside, it's going to be a presentation done by me contextualizing what we're trying to do, reference, there is an objective, and I've always adored teaching. So this is I always kind of compartmentalize like what we're doing here to when I have the opportunity to teach IRL with, and get to know people that have been part of our community. That's awesome. But this is going to be like another way. Prices are going to be just about the same, so there's nothing kind of extraordinary about it, like different from what people are already understanding as like the norm, like status quo, or of like these spaces. And we think that we're going to try not to make it too big, so 12, 10 people max, because to be able to pay attention. And I've certainly done workshops with twice the amount of those people. The workshop that I did a couple of months ago, online one, was there were like 30 something people in there, which I thought was way too many people. I mean, I hopefully tried to make like do justice to that, but
Yeah,
it
but
was
you
too
had to
many
like
people.
stretch
Yeah,
the time
I started,
that was
I
supposed
was
to be.
teaching probably an hour and a half, close to 2 hours more than I was getting,
I would say 2 hours or more.
yeah, than I was getting paid for. And but it's just that I couldn't see myself not talking to people.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, so it's going to be an opportunity for us to do something a little bit different, something that can be complementary. We're still going to do videos because that's how, we talk, and that's awesome. But for the people that want something that's like a little more structured and that has like, um, goals throughout weeks,
And
probably
like
going
a
to offer it on
direct.
Friday or Saturdays so
Mhm.
that you can have your work schedule not interfere with that. The time, I think most of them are like 3 hour long sessions. We'll see. We'll see if we go with that or if we stretch it a little bit. Like, again, there is like a proven formula to this that works for so many people doing courses, like actual courses, online courses, that I think it's dumb to go against that which people already find works. And it's good for us to say, no, that model is there. If it ain't broke, like, let's just follow it. People know what to expect. And yeah, and we're just going to do it our own way. But I think that's going to be super interesting. That's going to be like a different way to to just generate other bonds with members of our community.
Yes.
And I was very ambitious, and I thought that I could do offer two courses at the same time. Um, there's for sure one that is going to have to do with like color, like constructing form through color, for sure. But I wanted to do one of picture making, which is like super cool because it sometimes when we do exercises, our brain confuses us and it makes us believe that we're not quite painting, we're just doing dumb exercises that don't amount to anything. But it's kind of nice also, which I do think it's terribly wrong. Like, I do think that within those exercises lie the like DNA of every single painting that you'll ever paint. So it's actually no different than if you were trying to make paintings for a show. Um, uh, but I would love to do stuff with picture making, like with designing paintings, so we can do more elaborate images
Mm-hmm.
that require a more conscious design and just putting a lot of more things together. So initially, I think the two would be that, yeah, color and then like picture making. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do those at the same time, but then honestly, I don't, this is going to be new for us. So instead of going like two at the same time, I
Mm-hmm.
much rather like say, okay, Danny, let's try one, and if it works, then we can maybe offer it again after the 10 weeks alongside another one,
Mm-hmm.
and not have those two just clash and maybe say, oh, I didn't have enough time for one group and then the other,
Mm-hmm.
or I didn't have enough time to do the exercises for both classes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would be working alongside you guys. So every exercise that I ask you to do, I would be doing at the same time. Every homework that I ask you to do, I would be doing at the same time. So it's kind of cool that way, so that we can compare notes. But that's next year, and I think we can start as early as like mid January maybe,
Mhm.
so we can get the year like started like super super quickly. We like to do that. Like, remember, our Painted Life started January 1st.
Mhm.
Like, well, I don't know if literally January 1st, but the first Monday of January for sure.
No, I think our first upload was January 1st.
Maybe, but that was like a Thursday if I'm not mistaken, or like a
Yeah, but I
Wednesday.
do remember that because I remember that we were like editing
Yeah,
beforehand.
maybe you're right. Yeah.
And yeah, and I remember like your family asking like, "Well, but you're in vacations." And we're like, "Nope, we're
No
starting this.
vacations.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
starting this."
we're gonna open this door to no vacations.
Yeah.
Um, which we haven't had for years, by the way. But anyways, um, so
Oh, and
yeah,
this year it's gonna be little puppy here,
yeah. So no vacations
December
either.
and January.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, forget about
vacation
vacations.
who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, someone fed want to go on vacation somewhere. I think the world, like everything, is so expensive now.
Hmm.
Like we haven't gone through a book that showed us in a very small microcosm how the world has, shifted because of the state of things, and how we had to make decisions to make this book viable, from like a local standpoint.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think next year is going to be tough for a lot of us. I feel,
Hmm.
um, but I always say, and this is not, if you guys don't do it with me, fine, like that's totally fine. But support fellow artists, like, because artists need, like, when the world is saying, oh no, there are like basic necessities have to be met, we don't need art. Sadly, that's when people forget about artists, you know, and that's when we need like people to remember how valuable this can be for all of us.
Yeah.
That's when you need people the most. So again, this is not, I'm not pushing for us. We are very blessed and we've done really well. And we are very grateful to everyone that has helped,
But I could say we're pushing for us and for us. I'm sorry, that
for
sounded so.
you're pushing for ass, Danny. I'm having like a
we're,
nice conversation here. Like
we're
a
we're
community,
pushing
like
for
community
us,
driven goals.
us, and
I mean,
for
you
all the
you just
artists.
said right now, you were like, "Oh, this male-driven sexuality and anime,"
Well, female
and
and
now
male have
2
ass,
minutes
so
later, we are pushing for ass.
no.
It's like,
So
Danny, settle
no,
down.
no. I
I
was
haven't
gonna
heard
say,
that.
yeah.
I have
Stop it.
I haven't heard
Let's
that in
make it
Chainsaw
serious
Man.
again. So I was gonna say that we can push for us
Okay.
and for all the artists.
Yes. Hell yeah.
It's not like not only it's not like not only us, but not only not us, but every.
Danny, just say ass. You just, if you want
I'm
ass.
sorry,
Danny, if you want some ass,
it's my
just ask for it.
Colombian English. So
Just go for that ass. I mean, unashamedly. Just say it.
uh
I want ass.
no.
No, you're right. If anything, like we have, um just to put like our money where our mouth is, like, uh but we do it for our own growth, enjoyment, and respect. But we have bought like hundreds of pieces from other people, throughout these years. And again, we do it because we don't love ass, but we love what we
Art.
do.
We
We
love
love what we
art.
do. We love what we as a community do. And we love how people can push us. If we could, and sometimes I think it's sad, like there's so many amazing artists that sometimes I wish we could buy 10 off of every single artist that we have bought one or two from. But no, I mean, that's we just can't do that. But it's just, I don't think, I think that an important part of always reminding yourself, like, who your bigger community is, where you belong to. I know there's a lot of
Sorry.
ass in the comments, I'm
No,
sure.
no, and I'm just
I am
thinking
sure.
how we were talking
It's so
super
derailed.
serious, and I just
It's
wanted
so
to be.
beautiful.
No, I just
So
wanted to be
beautiful.
like super
Yeah, judgmental with
introspective.
with it. I was talking about a teenage
By
boy,
no, wait,
yearning
no.
for boobs. And you're like, boobs? That is gross. Men are gross and stupid.
I didn't
Why are
say
men
that.
so
So
stupid? I kind of felt
terrible
it.
joke.
Why are men so stupid? 2 minutes later, I realized, oh, you were mad that they were boobs. You wanted to talk about ass. So, Danny, I respect you for clarity, for just going there, diving in,
Terrible joke.
nose first, getting deep into the crux of the conversation.
Okay, now you
Yeah.
took my laughter
Digging in deep,
out of me.
you know, just put your finger. You're not afraid to put your finger where the, you know.
You know what's
I'm
cool?
proud of you. I'm proud
That
of
I
you.
was laughing
I'm
while
proud of
you
you.
were talking, but now I'm not laughing at all.
Because
You're terrible jokes.
you're missing some ass.
No.
You have an ass requirement that hasn't been met. Anyways, we're gonna stop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rosalind
look
was
for some
saying, Danny,
ass.
I'm totally cracking up.
Look for some ass for Danny.
No, they were saying that before you started your jokes.
What's
so.
that?
Danny, I'm totally cracking up.
Oh yeah, no, it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, again, oversharing, Danny. But
no,
that's totally
again,
fine.
I was gonna say that it made
That
me.
was our kink, but that's fine.
No, Nicolas,
Now it's
don't
everyone.
say that.
It's for
No,
everyone
I
to
don't
know.
like your dumb jokes. No, just like cut it. Just no. I was gonna say that it was funny that I was trying to be like to also say that because sometimes you say no, it's not us, but it's the other artists. But I do think that it's us as a community of artists, like we all, because we're also here and we're able to call this our job.
Yeah.
Because people have thought of us.
Yeah.
And have thought about our work and have wanted to support what we do by being here, by buying a painting, by buying the conversations we had between each other, like the sculptures and the paintings and everything. And that's the reason why we're here. So I would say that in difficult times, it's just try to remember all of your fellow artists.
Yes.
And all the artists without excluding one or the other for whatever reason. Yes.
And as you said, and then forgive me if I butt in, I think you're
We're
totally
done.
right.
Oh, okay.
I think you're totally right.
I thought you were going to say we're done for
No,
today.
why would you ever think? I was being super respectful there. Daniel Ira.
Kakiro.
I'm gonna try to get to the bottom of this painting tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
and not look back. And hopefully we can keep painting for tomorrow. We'll see.
Then we ask ourselves why YouTube doesn't show our content. Here we have it.
The lack of
It's
ass?
As clear.
As clear as day?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So thank you everyone
Thank you.
for joining us.
Let's get this girl some ass.
No, Nicolas. Nicolas.
Nicolas, some Nicolas.
No.
Woo!
So thank you everyone for joining us. If it's the first time you're here,
Yeah.
we invite you to join us. We are here every single week.
Yeah.
We're here even like almost every day of the week.
Well, you know.
Almost. So now we're working in the book because we're going to
Yeah.
travel to ship the book.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna be.
It's no, but it's good. It's like people are going to have time to catch up
Yeah.
on the videos they haven't seen.
Yeah, and miss
we have
us.
because
We're gonna miss you terribly.
yeah, you said Miss Ass.
I don't know where your
Miss
head is
us.
at. You know what? You gotta get your head out of your ass, Daniel Ira.
So we have a
Jesus
lot of
Christ.
content. If you want to see it, you are very welcome to see it. We
Jesus.
have about 500 more than 500 videos. If you want to
Mhm.
check them,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to see the live streams, you can look at those. If you
Yeah.
want to see edited videos, we have those too. Remember, it would be very cool if you could subscribe and ring the bell. So that would be amazing. So we can know that you'll be here with us. And we have Instagram, which by the way was like crumbling today.
Oh fuck it. Who
we
cares?
have
Like,
Instagram, but we don't have
I
it
want to
on the
watch
screen.
it burn. I
So
die Instagram. Honestly, like when it just breaks like that, and you see people like freaking out that bad, it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck Instagram. Fuck everything. Like, we don't need that shit. We really don't. It's becoming like a thing that's like, it should never have so much control over us. It should never be that important to get a stupid like. It should never be that important to have like X number of followers. It just doesn't matter. Like, none of that shit matters. None of it. Like, literally none of it matters. We would wake up the next day and nothing has changed. And if we like to paint, we would wake up and paint.
so with that said,
Yeah.
follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
I just typed the Instagram handle so you can check it out. We have a web page. It's called ourpaintedlives.com. And that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon.
You know, I was thinking, just to finish this.
Terrible joke. I know.
No.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
serious. But you know when you say as per usual, it's a whole new meaning now. A whole new meaning.
Bye everyone.